corner. I've put you in the corner, Mary.
Oh no, why'd you put me in a corner?
I don't know.
Oh, just for fun.
Just for fun. Because I think it's worked out. I think everything's working now.
All right.
Yay! We did it! We
Yay.
finally got live.
We did it. We're almost an hour late, but we did it. All right. This is Mary and AJ's DreamWorks Animation tier list.
Yeehaw!
I watched some DreamWorks movies. AJ's seen some DreamWorks movies
You bet.
that I haven't. I've seen some that he hasn't.
I've worked in
And
a
we're also
theater
we're
for some of these DreamWorks movies that have come out.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that's good
I
enough.
Some of these I either haven't seen or I haven't seen recently enough to like form an opinion, so we're gonna rank those based on vibes. Uh, we don't claim to we don't claim that that's a serious critique. Take that with a grain of salt, obviously. But we just want to put it somewhere. And also we're gonna skip the Aardman movies.
Yeah, they don't technically count, but
They
you know,
don't feel like DreamWorks to me.
yeah, 'cause they're not really. They were made by a completely separate company. But I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
rank them in your heart, you are more than welcome to.
we can't stop you from doing anything. We're also going to be making predictions for some upcoming DreamWorks sequels such as Boss Baby 3,
Shrek
Kung
5.
Fu, Kung Fu Panda 4,
It's
Trolls 3, if that strikes your fancy.
it's all exciting. Is this the
I,
first This is the first ever live edition of Into the Falls that we've ever done. I am going to
I wouldn't say
share
that
this
this is
particular stream with some pertinent Discord servers.
All right. I mean, I wouldn't say that this is an edition of Into the Falls at all. Because we're not talking about Gravity Falls. We're not doing a podcast. We didn't like coordinate to watch anything specific. It's just us doing a thing. Um, I did a thing.
Yeah, we did a
Oops, I did a
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Oops.
you almost slid into Britney Spears there.
Remember in like 2014 when like on your Tumblr dashboard if two posts showed up next to each other that like were connected in some way, you'd be like, my dash did a thing.
I haven't been on Tumblr long enough for do that.
That was a thing in the doing things was a thing in the 2010s on Tumblr. But
I see.
we're gonna rank some movies. We're gonna make some predictions. We're gonna maybe have some debates.
Yeah, let's just get right into it.
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into
Let's all yell at AJ because he hasn't seen the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
So
whatever.
the the tiers, S tier. It's perfect. It's a masterpiece. It's fantastic. We love it more than life itself.
It's a
A
god tier
tier.
movie.
Yeah, A tier. It's great. It's a wonderful little movie. Maybe not perfect. Maybe you have a few notes, but it's a great time.
Fun for the whole
B.
family, as they
Fun
like to
for
say in the trailers.
the whole family. It is fun. It is legitimately fun for the whole family. B. Good, not great. It's an okay time.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
it's
hate it.
okay.
You don't dislike it. It's pretty good. There were some things you would change. It's not like you gotta see this. You gotta show it to all your friends. But it's an all right time. It's pretty good. C tier. It's watchable. It doesn't offend your sensibilities, but maybe you don't really like it per se. D tier. It's terrible. It's garbage. You can't recommend it to anyone. You hate it. It's really bad.
Actually, I wouldn't go that far because I've just added the shite tier, which
You
is the
added a
movie
shite
is an
tier.
abomination. Yes, I have added the shite tier. The movie is an abomination. It should never have been made, and if you like this movie somehow, we hate you. Full
So it's like
disclaimer, we don't hate
it's
you.
worse than garbage.
It's
Worse
worse
than
than
garbage. All
garbage.
right.
D tier,
You're
it's
like
just it's bad. Shite is worse.
okay. Yeah.
So
Like
hopefully
you
no
will go to
movies
hell
of
for
these
liking a
end up
movie.
in the shite tier.
just off the top of my head, I don't think any of them would. Well, maybe one. But just full disclosure, making movies is very, very hard.
Oh
So
yes.
like no matter how bad a movie is, there's still a ton of work that went into it. It could be the worst movie ever made. It would still have been a very hard job to make it for
Yeah.
everyone involved. So we do respect the people who made these movies, regardless of what we think of the movies themselves.
Yeah.
That said, let's get started. What order do we want to do this? Do we want to do chronological? Do we want to go by
Um,
franchise?
I feel like we could try and do this in order of first release to last release, but then we'd have to reorder the. No, I'm pulling up Wikipedia right now, so we could technically do this. We could just go down the list from first release to latest release. I feel like it would be more
All
fun
right.
that way.
All
So,
right, AJ. I already know what their first movie was. But I'm gonna, just for the sake of this little program, I'm gonna have you tell me, and I'm gonna pretend to be surprised. What was their first movie?
well, first, maybe I'll just give a little background. Because first, there was this little company called Pacific Data Images, and they made computer graphics for like commercials and all sorts of stuff. But they really wanted to get into the movie business. So they decided to put together their own little movie. And it just happened to be about a certain kind of bug, and it also happened that the hottest computer animation company around, Pixar Animation, was, I don't know, coincidentally making a movie based on that same kind of bug. And then executives started throwing hands, exchanging rude words, and eventually this movie got released, and it's called Ants.
Ants, and that's spelled ANTS, right?
ANTZ.
Oh, so it's like a cool version of the word ants.
Yes. Released in 1998
That's the year
starring
I was born.
Dan Aykroyd, Anne Bancroft, Danny Glover, Gene Hackman, and Woody Allen. So,
Well,
on that note, do you want to put it in the shite tier?
I would
do you
love to
do
put
you
it in
want
the
to put it
shite
in the
tier. It's also,
canceled tier?
yeah, I'll put it in the cancel tier. I'll also put it in the tier that says this movie looks ugly as hell. I haven't seen it in its entirety, so this is not a legitimate critique of the movie. This is not my review. Um,
Yeah, the reason
but
they executives at both Pixar and DreamWorks kind of got into a tiff because these movies are kind of similarly plotted in that they both revolve around an ant that is special.
mm. And they both feature an actor who would later become, or no, Woody Allen. Those allegations were already out at the time. Kevin Spacey is in A Bug's Life. Those allegations were not out at the time.
Who did Kevin Spacey play?
He played Hopper. He played the grasshopper in A Bug's Life.
That's a shame. Hopper's a great villain, and his
Well,
voice is just
arguably so is
great.
Kevin Spacey.
Zing. Yeah, we went there. We're not afraid to go there on Into the Falls.
We're never afraid to go there. What's the next movie?
Yeah, let's go ahead and put it in D tier for now. I feel like that's a good place to put it. I have seen this film. I remember seeing it on HBO as a kid. I don't remember much from it. I remember Bug's Life a lot more.
We're still talking about ants? Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
I
wanted
just
to throw
remember.
that in.
Okay, so most summers my family goes up to we go camping, or like we stay in like a cabin. And for years this one cabin we stayed in had like a suitcase full of VHS tapes in the room that was basically like designated for the kids for whoever stayed there, and one of them was ants. And I put it on one day just to like see if I would like it. And like Sylvester Stallone's character is like telling Woody Allen's character to stop his bitching, and I'm like, what's this rated?
It's
Is this for
PG.
is this for kids? Is this
Well,
But that's how you
from
know they're not like Disney.
yeah,
That's
from
how
the
that's how you know
start, like,
they're not your grandma's animation
yeah,
studio.
do you want to make the argument that DreamWorks Animation never really made kids movies?
No, just because there are like some minor swear words doesn't mean they're not for kids strictly. It's a case by case basis, but
Yeah,
like these are mostly family films.
yeah. Because, if they're funny animals moving around on screen, it's automatically for kids.
Automatically for kids. Definitely show your kids Fritz the cat.
Yes, definitely show your kids Fritz the cat.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're both good with Anson D tier. Like,
Yep.
if you like it, I'm sorry. Maybe not. Let's move on to The Prince of Egypt.
If you like it, I'm not going to assume that you like Woody Allen as a person. But yeah, Prince of Egypt goes in S tier for sure.
Yeah, I will admit this is one movie I haven't seen, and this was
AJ
also
hasn't seen it.
released.
Everyone yell at him.
Yeah, yell at me. This one was also released in 1998, December 1998, versus Ants's October 1998, and
That's still the
it's
year I was born.
DreamWorks Animation's first hand-drawn animated film. So they started with computer animation, and then I can only assume this one was also in production at the time.
It was. They really I feel like this is not like a hard fact, but I feel like this came about because they wanted to have like their own Lion King, basically. This like epic 2D animated, like with all these landscapes and this like huge, like dramatic story. And it's really, really good. AJ, you should definitely see it as soon as possible. It's
Yeah.
now a musical on the West End. It might have closed already. I don't know. I heard they're doing a pro
Hmm.
shot of it, but I don't know when that's going to be released.
That's really interesting.
The
I'm
cast
just
recording is the cast the cast recording is pretty good. I will say because it's a West End show, all the actors are very obviously British, and there's like dialogue at the beginning of their version of All I Ever Wanted, and the woman playing Miriam is saying like, "You can't leave us again." I'm like, "Okay, we get it. You're
well,
British."
well, I mean, if you've seen any like historical quote unquote movie or
They're
like,
all British.
yeah, they always
Well, not
sound
in this one.
British.
They're mostly American in this one, except for Ramesses. A few of them are British, but they're mostly American
Yeah,
or Canadian, I guess. Some of them could be Canadian. It's Val Kilmer as Moses, Sandra Bullock as Miriam,
I'm looking.
Jeff Goldblum as Aaron.
Is Ray Fiennes the only British member of this cast?
I think Patrick Stewart played their father. He played
Oh
the
yeah,
first
Patrick
Pharaoh.
Stewart is in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, Helen Mirren too. Helen Mirren was the mother.
Okay.
And there's okay, this is gonna come up again in another movie, believe it or not, but the scene where he like reunites with his biological siblings, Miriam is like, "Oh, you have to remember. I can't believe you don't remember." And I'm like, "He was a baby when this happened." What do you mean he has to remember like his birth mother? And then like of course somehow like because we have to kick the plot into motion, it's a 90-minute condensation of the Book of Exodus. That she just like sings the lullaby and he remembers it somehow. I don't think that's how memories work. Like if I heard a song as a baby, my brain was not big enough back then to form a memory of it. So if you played it for me now or sang it for me now, it would not trigger anything in my brain. It would not trigger that memory because babies don't form memories. That's not how it works.
Yeah, but
Next,
it's good because it plays with your emotions.
it's an act of God. God did it.
Yes, it's an act of God. Mary, you've cracked it.
You know what? I have a Bible in my closet. I'm gonna go check because they changed the ending a little bit in the West End show, and I can't remember if it's like closer to how the story actually ends in the Book of Exodus. You know what? It might be easier to just look it up than to open a physical Bible.
Yeah,
All right.
Mary's about to be like the book was better.
Book of Exodus. Well, this podcast I'm talking about starting with my other friend. If we ever do DreamWorks movies, We would have to read the Book of Exodus for this.
Ooh,
Okay.
fun. You get to read about all the atrocities that the Egyptian government committed.
Yay!
Yay! Because atrocities never
Huzzah!
really stop.
Okay. Let's go to Moses.
Some facts I want to run down.
um,
Brenda Chapman is a co-director on in this film, and she used to work at Disney as a in their story department and was head of story on The Lion King. And then she directed this film, and then she would go on to direct Brave for Disney and Pixar.
She kind of directed it. She like co-directed, or she directed a version of it and then got kicked off the project, or maybe left the project because of creative differences. And then it was, I guess, just a very different movie from what she wanted it to be.
Hey, she still got the Oscar.
She still got, I mean, she's still a credited director.
Yep. So it counts.
Let's
It
see.
counts.
Okay, narrative. Pharaoh, then. No, that's Sharon. Wait, okay.
So yeah, a wild world where you didn't really know if DreamWorks would put out a computer animated film or a hand drawn animated film.
Oh, it's not. No, they changed the ending. The ending in the movie is closer to how it goes in the Book of Exodus. They changed it in the stage show to kind of redeem the Pharaoh a little more. Huh.
So the book was better, and therefore the movie was better.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's amazing.
I
And
will say
now,
they didn't make very many 2D animated movies, but the ones they did, like they look incredible.
yeah, they've got
We'll get to
incredible
whether or
style.
not they're all good, but they all look great.
Yeah. Let's move on to another hand drawn animated film right now. Our next film released March 31st, 2000, The Road to El Dorado.
Road to El Dorado. I just had this on while I was doing my makeup. I would put that in
I feel like
B
it
or
should be.
C tier.
Wait, what?
I would put it in B or C tier.
I feel like B. This is another one I haven't seen, but from what I've looked
It's
at,
very white saviory.
I suppose. But I mean, it's a buddy comedy. How can you go wrong with a buddy comedy?
It's a white savior buddy comedy. You can go wrong with it.
I
Home on the
suppose.
Range is a buddy comedy too, and that movie's awful. But that's not what we're ranking.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Disney was going through it at that time, so I mean, you gotta cut them some slack.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
I put it in C tier.
All right. Well, I'll leave it there, and I'll hope that it's good enough for a B tier. Uh, there's this fan art on Tumblr of Donald and Daffy as the two main characters, and I like that a
Oh, of
lot.
course there is.
Of course, there is.
I know a lot of scenes from this movie are memes now, or they were on Tumblr in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And like, okay, this is scores by Elton John and Tim Rice, who did The Lion King and Aida. Actually,
Yeah.
Aida was the same year as this, which is very good. You should listen to the cast recording. I recommend it. Excuse me. And like, it's like kind of sort of a musical, but not really. There's just like some songs, and they sing one song, but then they never sing again. And I don't know if that song was diegetic
Yeah,
or what was going on.
it's weird, I think.
It's mostly Elton John singing in the background.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting to me how they kind of wanted to be Disney, sort of with these hand-drawn animated films that they made,
But they're edgier.
but they're edgier. Yeah, I
They're
suppose
the edgy
so.
alternative to Disney. They say swear words, and it's implied in this movie that one of them gets a blowjob from the female lead.
Ooh, Kenneth,
But yeah, it's very
Kevin
much
Kline,
the
Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh. I love Kevin Branagh. Kevin Branagh, Kenneth Branagh.
their ultimate form. All I was hearing was Mr. Fish
Thank
Outer.
you for saving
But
that, Mary.
Okay, so basically the plot is like they're coming from Spain. It's the 1500s. They find El Dorado, which I guess is in Mexico, what is now Mexico. Um and like the natives think they're gods, so they like try to sacrifice people for them, and like Kenneth Branagh's character is the one who has to be like, "No, don't do that." Because that civilization couldn't have done that on their own. They need Kenneth Branagh to come save them. And I
Yeah,
know sacrifices happened. It's just like this portrayal of like these clueless, kind of clueless, like ignorant native people who need a white Spaniard to come and say, "No, you don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to die.
yeah,
It's
that's
fine."
that's totally not how it worked in actual history.
Also, the main villain is one of the indigenous people who's like the one trying to sacrifice everybody, and his ending is that I guess he gets like enslaved by Hernan Cortez. I'm like, I don't know
Well,
about that.
okay. All right. Well, let's leave it. And I want to, real quick before we move on, some similarities with another movie kind of fired off in my brain. So you can tell me if this isn't really warranted or if I'm just being crazy. But how would you compare this movie with, going back to Disney, Atlantis the Lost Empire?
Atlantis the Lost Empire still has that white savior element, but I feel like it's more egregious in Road to El Dorado. One thing I will say, and I was thinking about this earlier, if Kida had been the main character in Atlantis the Lost Empire, a lot of that movie's problems would have been solved.
Hate to do this, but that's another one I haven't seen. So, or at least haven't seen all the way through. I saw bits and pieces as a kid. So I'm just going to take your word for it on that.
An alright time.
All right. And according to Wikipedia, next up is Chicken Run, which we are skipping because it's an Aardman Animations movie.
I also haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I haven't seen it all the way through. I will say though,
I'm not sure if I've seen it all the way through. I might have seen it. I might have seen all of it, but not at the same time.
I'm exercising this right because I have the tier list open here. I know we weren't going to rank Aardman films, but I am going to put Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit in S tier because that is an amazing film. I haven't seen
You
it in
know
a
what?
while, but I saw it multiple times as a kid. I loved it. I love Wallace and Gromit. They're amazing, just perfect, chef's kiss. I love this movie.
I had it on in the background once while I was doing other things, so I don't really count that as having seen it.
You should definitely see the short films if you haven't. I'm You probably have. Have you?
No,
We'll
I don't think
we'll
so.
do it. Watch the Wallace and Gromit short films. They're amazing. Okay,
All right, you watched The
so
Prince of Egypt.
all right.
Oh,
If you
also,
watch Wallace and Gromit, I'll watch The Prince of Egypt.
this isn't on the list anyway, but we're not doing Joseph King of Dreams. That
Okay.
was a direct-to-video prequel to The Prince of Egypt. I saw it once as a kid. I hear it's all right. It's not on this list. We're doing theatrically released
Yeah, they're never the
movies.
direct-to-video films just in general are never quite as good anyway.
Yeah.
I suppose, except if you're The Lion King 1.5 and an extremely goofy movie.
That's a
Okay.
discussion for another day. I
Yeah.
know what their next movie was, but go ahead and tell me.
Uh they did have a bunch of films as you've seen, but this kind of really got the ball rolling. The one, the only, the big ogre of them all, Shrek.
Yay! This is I don't think no, I
I've
didn't see this in
preferably
theaters.
put it in I've at first put it in A tier, but feel free to make your case for S tier.
Now I'm not going to make a case for S tier. This is not an S tier movie. It's a good one. Um, I would put it in A, maybe even no, I'd put it in A tier. Um, it's good. It's a solid movie. There is a little bit of frustration in like the third act conflict stemming purely
From a
so,
misunderstanding.
from someone overhearing something out of context and making assumptions and just kind of running with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a classic, maybe overdone rom-com trope.
Yeah. There's this definitely
It's funny
like
to me, I guess, saying that this is the movie that lampshades and makes fun of all of these fantasy tropes, and then the big driving force behind the conflict is a huge rom-com trope that's been overdone.
I wouldn't say it lampshades it. I would say it almost deconstructs it. Or at least it like flips it on its head. I wouldn't say it
Yeah,
lampshades it because lampshade implies that like they're doing it and they just kind of reference that they're doing it, but like they still do it anyway. They don't reference like the rom-com misunderstanding at any point. They just do it straight up, like unironically.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so this definitely kind of cemented what DreamWorks wanted, or not, maybe not what they wanted their identity to be, but definitely what they tried to keep
yeah.
up with for
It really,
like kind of to this day.
their style was put into place here. Was They
Yeah,
tried some stuff in these other films, but then this was the one where everything clicked.
it's the celebrity casting, it's
Oh
the
yeah, Mike
edgy
Myers, John
humor,
Lithgow, Eddie Murphy, Cameron
Cameron
Diaz.
Diaz, a bunch of other people. I don't know. Oh, actually, that might be it for that movie. I think the rest of the voice cast for that movie is just like people from around the studio. Um, but
Yeah. The
yeah,
last
so
time I saw this movie, my team lead at work put it on, and so I was just casually glancing over here and there and then again. But I've seen it multiple times as a kid. Uh I want to bring up a
I ha
controversial topic.
what's your controversial
Do you think
topic?
Smash Mouth made this movie better, or could you do without them?
I think we could do without them. I mean, I like the Smash Mouth songs that are in it, but I don't think they're necessary to the movie's success. I think he could have put something else there. Um,
Yeah,
have you heard the Owl City remix of All Star?
I have not. Owl City
It's
remixed
really
All Star?
good. Yeah, uh, yeah, like last year, like in June. It's really good. Like I listened to that way more than the original.
That is fascinating.
I
Oh, that
love
might
it.
be one to check out.
Yeah. So I'd put that in A tier. Shrek
Yeah,
1.
it's a
A lot of the I feel like it's a funny movie. Actually, there's some jokes I like. I hadn't seen this movie in a while until like a week or two ago. And like there are some jokes that like I forgot I really love. Like I still love the Robin Hood song. It kind of comes out of nowhere and it's a lot of filler,
that's
but
a
it's
great sequence.
I
Oh,
feel
and
like it's I feel like
when Fiona does the
it's,
Matrix bullet time thing,
it's not the
I think
best
that's still
joke in my
funny today.
opinion. I think I just seen that reference in so many other places. But it's brief. It's not like, hey, do you know this? But the characterization of Robin Hood as this like showboaty French, he's French for some reason, and he's doing this speak singing, and
Yeah, it's
it's very
great.
funny.
Eddie Murphy is just amazing. Like
Yeah,
it's a classic. It's not S tier, but it's a classic.
it's a classic for a reason. I would say. I think there's it's not my personal favorite, but there's a reason it was so successful. What's the next one?
We're ping ponging back to hand drawn animation here. Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron.
Okay, this one I haven't seen this one in a few years. Obviously, the animation again is very very good.
I remember
Uh,
seeing the trailer for it a bunch as a kid.
this
Where is
is
it? Here's Spirit Untamed. There it is. I found it.
okay. So this is like, from what I remember, the plot is he's like a baby horse. He's he's born into like this group of wild horses. Then he gets taken by like no, not even colonizers. 'Cause it's like the 1800s. It's like the Old West, and he like gets taken by these people who are building a railroad track, and he then like befriends a Native American man and like goes to live in his village and meets a girl horse and something. I don't remember what happens from there, but it's very, very pretty to look at. The score is very good. I think it's Hans Zimmer. I think a lot of these are Hans Zimmer.
Yep,
Um,
Hans Zimmer.
I know Prince
Shrek,
of
I think,
Egypt
was
was
Hans
Hans
Zimmer
Zimmer.
as well. Nope.
Was it?
Harry Gregson
Shrek
Williams
2
and John
was.
Powell. Also two very good composers.
Yeah, a lot of these movies have very, very good scores. But Bryan Adams does a couple songs for the soundtrack. I like a couple of them. I think the movie could do without them, but I don't really mind them. There's one line that really bugs me. And it's like, okay, so it's the horse doesn't talk, but Matt Damon like narrates over it. And
Matt Damon is
there's like
like
a
the
scene,
horse's thoughts, I suppose.
yeah, and he says like there's sometimes a horse has got to do what a horse has got to do, and this was one of those times. And I'm like, is no, wouldn't that always be true? Wouldn't that not be a case of like sometimes this is true? And I'm like, no, no, don't you always have to do what you have to do?
I suppose if you think about it that way, then yes. A horse
Like
is
they're
doing what a
trying to
horse
really make
does
it
all the
sound cool.
time.
They're always doing what they have to do because they're animals. They have these instincts that tell them like this is what you have to do, so do it.
It's for dramatic emphasis, Mary.
They poop while they're walking. They don't stop to poop. They got to do what they got to do.
That's very true in that respect. All right, have we said all we are going to say about Spirit?
I don't think I have anything else to say about Spirit.
All right.
It's the anti-colonialist DreamWorks movie,
Yeah.
which is it's only a couple years after Road to El Dorado, but it's very different.
I'm doing a quick skim, and I believe this is our last hand-drawn animated film coming up here.
Oh yeah, it is.
Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas.
Shite tier.
Okay.
It's so
I
bad.
haven't seen it.
I just saw it for the first time the other night, and I don't think it was Peacock that was crashing. I think it was that I was casting it from my phone and like something was going wrong with the Wi-Fi, so that kept crashing, and I was like, God does not want me to watch this movie all the way through. But by the time I told myself like, okay, if it crashes a third time, I'll stop watching. Then it crashed a third time, and I was like, well, it's almost over. I might as well stick it out. And I did, and it somehow got worse in like the last act.
Wait, let me go back
like,
and see, because you were talking about it over here in
yeah,
the in
I was like
little chat.
messaging. I couldn't wait for the stream. I was like messaging AJ like, this is so bad. I can't believe I'm watching this of my
Yeah.
own volition. It's again, the animation is great. It doesn't blend it with CG very well, and it does that a lot more than I think the other hand-drawn movies do. Then again, I was doing my makeup while Road to El Dorado was on, so maybe that does it a lot more than I thought. I don't think Prince of Egypt does it very much, except for like the backgrounds. But Sinbad will do it, like the whole ship is CG, and
I
they're like,
can't
"Wow,
find
we're blending it. Look," and I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't look good. It's 2003." Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like the romance is one of the worst I have ever seen in like a family film. At least I'm sure I've seen worse romance arcs in movies in general, but this was like really bad. It's straight up just like, okay, so Sinbad is like a
I can
thief.
see from the thumbnail, the girl is carrying a sword and she's got short hair. Is she
That means
therefore a strong female protagonist?
oh, you bet she is. She's not. But
Just
they
checked all
want
the
you to think
boxes.
she is. They want her to be because she has short hair and she says things like, "Oh, men." That's what feminism is in 2003.
Yep.
But so Sinbad is a thief. He was childhood friends with this prince, I guess. We don't see that because I guess it would be too similar to Prince of Egypt. But like they meet for the first time in 10 years, and then Sinbad gets accused of stealing this thing called the Book of Peace that like protects people somehow. I don't think they explain why or like how it works or why they need it. It's just it's a good thing and we need it, and oh no, it's gone. Sinbad did it. Let's kill him. And the prince says like, no, I demand the right of substitution, which I think I've heard of. I think was a thing. where he says like, give him a chance to go find it. If he can't, then execute me instead. Uh, so Sinbad like goes to find it, and this guy, the prince's fiance, stows away on the ship to make sure he actually does it instead of running away. And then they fight all the time, and you would think that they would gradually fall in love, but they don't. It's just kind of in the third act they decide that they're in love for seemingly no reason. Um, they have nothing in common. There's no reason to think that they would even like each other, let alone love each other. Um, let's see. Yeah, so and he's like up against this goddess who really stole the book and is trying to frame him because she's the goddess of chaos and she wants chaos. And she's a trickster. She's a trickster goddess, except her tricks are very obvious, and Sinbad seems very stupid for falling for them. She's like, oh, steal it from me, and I'll do XYZ for you. And he's like, you promise? She's like, yeah. He's like, okay. Then oh god.
I'm glad you're explaining it to me this way because it's making me want to see it less and less.
Good. You should not want to see it. There's like this test she gives him where it's like, I'll give you the book if you answer this question honestly. Like, the question is, if you don't get the book, will you return to be executed or will you run away and let your friend be executed? And he like thinks for a second, and I'm like, okay, literally, all you have to do is answer honestly, no matter how bad it makes you look, because then she will give you the book and it won't even matter. But he says like, I will go back, and then he doesn't get the book because he was lying. He wasn't gonna go back, and then he's like on a beach for some reason with the love interest, and she's like, I'll go back and I'll explain everything, and he's like, no, that won't believe you. They'll just kill him. I can't let that happen. And she's like, I can't watch you die. I love you. And I'm sitting there like, why? Why? Because he said you were pretty once 10 minutes ago? Why? But he goes back, and they're about to kill the prince, and the pacing is awful too. The pacing is so bad. I don't know why these characters were ever friends. I don't know why anybody likes each other. I don't know why anybody does anything.
All right, Sinbad, shite tier.
No. Hold on, I have to tell you the climax of this movie because he's about to be executed. Sinbad comes back, he's about to be executed because he's like, you know what, I gotta do the honorable thing. I can't let him die, even though I'm innocent, because he's definitely innocent too. And then the goddess shows up and she's like, you weren't supposed to do this. And he's like, wait a minute, I said I was gonna come back and now I came back and that means I was telling the truth. And I'm like, yeah, you just realized that? And she's like, okay, here's the book, bye. And that's the end of the movie. And then the prince and the lady are like standing there, and he's like, you should go be with Sinbad because you love him, I guess. It's fine. I'm not upset about it at all. I literally do not care. I think one thing I would have added to improve it, it wouldn't have saved this movie, but you could just add a shot of him like watching her leave and looking sad, but like knowing that he's done the right thing. I don't know. It's a bad movie. You shouldn't watch it. It's not fair that it killed 2D at this studio, but I can see why it did. It was a huge bomb, rightfully so. But it does make me feel bad because if any movie takes a lot of hard work, an animated movie takes like so much work. And the animation is very good. Except for the blending of CG, which I'm sure is like the best they could do at the time.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't look good today. So that's in shite tier.
Our first one in shite tier. I have a feeling this next one is going to be S tier with you.
Oh, I know what the next one is.
It's our first sequel. And I mean, if they were going to make a sequel to one movie out of this whole bunch, of course they were going to make Shrek 2.
Shrek 2! This was the first movie I saw more than once in theaters because it came out when I was 6. And until that point, I thought that once you saw a movie in theaters, it was just out of theaters. Like, you couldn't see it again and no one else could see it. You had to wait for the DVD, or also the VHS at the time. Yeah. But my mom took me and my sister to see this when it came out, and then we saw it like a week later for a birthday party. And I was very confused. But from then on, I was just like, All right, I guess I was wrong about that. Um,
Yeah,
this is a
and
fantastic movie.
yeah, I will agree. This is we were talking about this earlier. This is one of the rare sequels that is as good or possibly best the original.
I think it's much better than the original, and I like the original fine, but I don't go back to it nearly as much as this. Like I can watch this one over and over and over again,
Yeah,
and I
definitely
would
the
not
new
be bored.
characters really spice things up. The fairy
They really step,
godmother, Fiona's
yeah.
parents, freaking Puss in Boots.
Oh yeah, I think Fairy Godmother is a much more fun villain than Lord Farquaad. Like he had some good jokes, but I think she's much more.
Yeah,
She's a little more like showboaty. She's bombastic. She's very
she's a villain and she loves it. Even though
she loves
she's
it,
got
and
this front that she's a really good, wholesome, sweet character, which is again
that just
sort
makes
of
it more
making fun
fun
of
because
the
she's manipulating people, and that is so fun to watch.
yeah. It's not fun when it's happening to you, but when it's happening to other people.
It's you love to hate her, and she is just so dynamic and like has
Yeah.
these musical numbers that
Yeah,
are
she sings
great.
Holding Out for a Hero, and the internet loves that.
The internet loves it. When I was in college, we did this thing called Ring Night, and I'll try not to get carried away explaining the entirety of how that works. But the first day of Ring Night, you have these tasks, like from a senior, you're a junior when this is happening, and you don't. None of them are required, but it's just like a fun, not hazing. It's not hazing because you
It's
don't
just a
have
fun
to do
social
any of it,
event.
and it's yeah. But it's like stuff that like in any other circumstance would be embarrassing, but like because it's ring night, everyone knows it's ring night. Everyone's just kind of going around doing stupid stuff.
Everybody's doing it for
Um,
the bit.
yeah, we're just doing bits all over campus. And so one of mine was I like put on my sheet that like I like Disney movies, and so my big said like go to the dining hall and like reenact scenes from your favorite Disney movies. And I'm like, well, if that's not required, then I can just go reenact something else. And I sang "Holding Out for a Hero." Somewhere there's a video of it. I'm singing it, and my friend is like off on the side, like dancing like this,
Oh, that's
um,
fantastic.
just going back and forth as fast as they can.
Did you wear a
And
red sequin dress?
no, I think I decided pretty last minute to do it. And yeah, so that was a fun time. And Shrek 2, just a great movie.
Yeah.
Not absolutely perfect. There's a little bit of stuff. There are like a couple of things that like if you were making it now, you wouldn't put in there. But it doesn't ruin the movie for me personally. I will say something that makes me sad is that the DVD menu was like, as far as I remember, like pretty funny just in its own right because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like they're all in these all the characters are in these squares.
Yeah, the Hollywood
And like
Squares
Donkey's
menu.
yeah. So like
Donkeys in the
Donkey's in the
menu.
middle and he's like looking at all these options and he's just like he just like won't stop talking. He won't stop like telling the audience to like pick something. And then like everyone around him is like trying to get him to shut up. And then the Blu-ray menu is just clips from the movie, which like
Yeah,
bummed me out.
this was the golden age of the DVD where doing stuff like that was a reason to buy the DVD.
Yeah, that's fun. I wish they'd kept it when they put it out on Blu-ray. But
Although I will
Puss in
say,
Boots, great.
Far Far Away Idol was a special feature on that DVD, and I think if you go and stream Shrek 2, it's you can watch it as like one of the extras, but it's like a
I don't know if it's like an extra on Shrek 2, but I know there are ways to stream it. They're like I
I
know on
distinctly
Netflix for a while
remember
they
Far
had
Far Away Idol being a special feature on my Shrek 2 DVD.
yeah, no, it's an extra on the DVD, but I don't know if you're streaming it if it would be
Oh,
available there. But I know
I thought I read
on
that on
Netflix
Wikipedia or something.
for a while on Netflix there was like there would be like a collection of like Shrek shorts, so it would be like the 4D movie from Universal Studios and like all these little things they did, and one of them was Far Far Away Idol. When we were kids, we had the DVD, but we could never pick a winner on Far Far Away Idol because like none of the buttons on the remote would work. So the
Oh, I
timer would
hate
just
that.
come out and Simon would just like declare himself the winner, I think.
Yeah, if I remember I looked this up like yesterday or today this morning, and if I remember correctly, I think uh if you select either Puss in Boots, Donkey, or Shrek and Fiona, then they will do their Simon will declare them the winner and they will do the encore. But if you select anybody else, Simon's Simon will just call you an idiot and freaking start singing My Way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the big
What was I gonna say?
gag.
Okay, one thing about Far Far Away Idol. So at the end of Shrek 2, so Prince Charming is the fairy godmother's son. That's very important for this. He is unconscious at the end of that movie. The beginning of Far Far Away Idol, they just kind of animate him like jumping into frame like he just woke up so he could compete in this. So like he still doesn't know his mom is dead. They just killed his mom and like he just doesn't question why everyone's gone or like where she is or what happened since he got knocked out.
Well, I mean,
So
he
he's
does
just
eventually find out, but it's not
he
really
clearly finds
important.
out, but we'll talk about that
Yeah, we can
later.
talk about that later. Oh, and
So
also, I
Shrek 2
love that
ST.
in Fiona's diary, uh, no, it's actually a poster or something in her childhood
Sir
room,
Justin.
and it's like one of her crushes, or
Sir Justin.
Sir Justin.
Yeah.
And I love this. It was like this is like 2004, and I'm sure while they were making this, they might have been listening to Justin Timberlake's first album.
Here's the thing. Around the time they were making this, Cameron Diaz and Justin Timberlake were dating, but the people making the movie did not know that. And they had broken up by the time the movie came out, so all the reviews were like, "Oh, they're commenting on it." And they're like, "Commenting what? No?
That is
They dated?"
hilarious. Yeah, it's hey, you don't know that you're doing this stuff when you're doing it, but hey, if somebody figures
Yeah,
it
they're like,
out,
"Hey,
then yeah, then it was always meant to
anim
be there.
animation is a very different process. We're not like friends with Cameron Diaz. We don't like talk about her love life. Maybe they are friends with Cameron Diaz. I don't know."
Yeah. And
So
yeah, before we move on, just wanted to say this was released May 19th, 2004.
it will be 20 years old next year.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. And our next
Good luck with
film
that.
was released a scant 3 months later. No, wait, 5 months later. I'm bad at math. October 1st, 2004. Our next movie is Shark Tale.
Yay!
And I just want to
I
interject
haven't.
this, continuing on the Justin Timberlake tangent. Justin Timberlake and Timbaland have a great song in this movie called Goodfoot. It plays in the credits, and also while I think Oscar and Jack Black's character are doing a infiltration thing or something, and I love that song, and it's not available to stream, and I'm so pissed off about that.
Oh, it's the same thing with Shrek 2. The songs that you would want to stream off of that soundtrack are Holding Out for a Hero and Livin' La Vida Loca. Neither of them are on Spotify.
Yeah.
Those versions of them are not on Spotify.
Yeah, and I guess go back real quick to Shrek 2. I'm not usually a fan of the big triumphant musical number at the end that a lot of these DreamWorks films like to do, but
I think it works
Living
really
La
well
Vida
in
Loca
Shrek 2.
is a bop, like supremely a bop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it sounds like Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas are just having so much
Yeah,
fun recording it. And it's just really fun to watch. And it's just so energetic. And like it always makes me want to watch the movie again because it's like, well, now I'm sad that it's ending.
yeah. So Shark Tale.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I haven't seen it since
Uh
I was a kid either. I don't remember much of the plot, but I mean, Will Smith is great in it.
I'm
Jack
sure
Black is great in it.
Jack Black's great in everything.
Yeah, that's also true.
We
And then
were my friends in college, we were talking about this once. I don't remember why, but I think I just like referenced it being like kind of universally considered a bad movie, and one of them was like, "Well, but it's an allegory for coming out." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that doesn't make it a good movie. Maybe it is. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's not like that alone does not make something a good movie."
I don't really see that all that much. Like,
Apparently, it was intentionally done that way. I guess like the writer or the director was gay, and so he made Jack Black's shark character like a metaphor for someone, for a gay person, like, and like having like a family member who has to learn to accept it.
So
So that
weird.
was done intentionally.
I might have to see this film with that in mind. Maybe it'll open up something in me.
Maybe. I would still say it's pretty bad just because I know the plot involves Will Smith Fish doing these horrible things to his friends and just being a terrible person. I would put it in D tier. Again, with the caveat that I haven't seen it in a long time. This is not a full-on
Yeah,
like
I
review that I
haven't.
want you to take seriously.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time either, but I remember liking it as a kid, possibly really liking it. So I want to be hopeful and put it in C tier.
C tier. I put it in D
C tier.
tier.
Get it?
Ah, it's
By the way,
hilarious.
another interesting sort of maybe ants moment here. This film was released like a year after Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
So,
I'd say they're on the same level.
yeah. Also,
I'd say this is about as good as Finding
I
Nemo.
stare at Oscar in this thumbnail, the more I'm like, this movie's a little ugly. This is a little ugly.
Yeah, the fish do not look good in this movie. One of them is voiced by Martin Scorsese. I recently saw my first Martin Scorsese movie. I saw a screening of Goodfellas, and before I left, my mom was like, "Oh, like, be prepared because it's like super super intense." And I went and saw it, and I came back, and she's like, "Well, was it intense?" And I'm like, "No, not the way I thought you meant. At least when you said that."
Yeah,
And then
Robert De Niro's in this movie as well.
yeah, well,
So,
then I got my comeuppance and I saw Skinamarink. And that was intense for me, personally. I never want to see anything like that again, but it's great for what it sets out to do. It terrified me, and I think that's what it wanted. And
yeah.
for a few days, it felt like the movie itself was like an entity that could hurt me until I saw a parody on Twitter called Peta Marink, which is a clip from Family Guy, edited like in the style of Skinamarink, and then suddenly the movie lost all its power.
Yeah,
There's
it's
still I'll still like catch myself thinking about certain scenes and like shuddering or like being like, nope, don't want to don't want to acknowledge that right now.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm no
Uh
longer like checking over my shoulder in the hallway at night.
yeah. Something I real quick I want to point out before we move on. I just want to say we were talking about the big triumphant closing number.
Oh
Do we
yeah.
want to talk about freaking Missy Elliott and Christina Aguilera doing Car Wash at the end of Shark Tale? Like that's
Well, they
also a
changed
bop.
don't they change the lyrics to whale wash though? Because it's whale wash in the movie.
I just I don't know. I think I remember them just singing Car Wash.
They might have released a regular cover like as a single or something, but in the movie it's whale wash.
Maybe. Again, I'm just speaking off of childhood memories here.
What next?
Well, according to Wikipedia, it's Wallace and Gromit, not a DreamWorks film. It's an Aardman film, but I have put it in S tier because Wallace and Gromit are just
It's
great.
here on a technicality,
Yeah,
but
it's
we're
here
not going to discuss
because
it.
I put it there because I have the
Yeah.
power. So our next film is Over the Hedge, released in 2006.
Have not
Oh
seen this
yeah,
since I was a child. I don't think
I just
anyone
want to
has.
wait a sec. I fucked up.
What'd you do?
Our next film isn't Over the Hedge. It's Madagascar.
Madagascar. I would put that in B tier. Maybe C tier.
What? No. I think it should go in A tier. That is a fun
A
movie.
tier. I don't know.
Madagascar
It's
is
funny, but
great.
it's funny, but it's not like, oh, this is a great movie. I gotta watch it over
It's
and over
great.
again.
It's so energetic. It's hilarious. The chemistry between all the main characters is amazing.
Look, it is ironic in retrospect that Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith are supposed to be like very good friends in these movies. And in real life, Chris Rock got slapped in the face because he made fun of her alopecia at the Oscars.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing like
Did that
Marty
happen
being on
like
stage.
exactly a year ago? Am I crazy?
Almost. No, it was like March. But I'm just imagining someone throwing the Will Smith fish from Shark Tale at him instead of slapping him in the face. They just throw the sentient fish at him.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
No, it's you're not gonna get this reference, but it's the dolphin sound from SpongeBob in the episode where
I
they
actually do
they
get that
learn
reference.
Okay.
I do know that reference. It's the one where he learns a swear word off a dumpster and then just spends the whole episode repeating it.
Yeah.
Baby Looney Tunes did that too.
Huh.
Yeah, there was a whole episode devoted to Baby Daffy learning a swear word from
Oh, I think
some
I've
character
seen
off screen,
references to
and
this.
then every one of the kids picks up on it.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that's always. So
I'm a
funny when
substitute.
you
I'm a
do.
substitute teacher. That is always fun. We love that.
Yeah. So. Nah.
I put it in B tier. I say it's good, not great.
All right. We'll put it in B tier. Although it's an A tier for
Yay!
me. Madagascar's a
It's an
great
A.
film.
It's an A tier in your heart,
It's an A tier in my heart, definitely.
but not in my heart.
Okay. Now we move on to Over the Hedge.
I say that I haven't seen this since I was a kid, and I don't know anyone who has.
I saw this multiple times as a kid. Also, I think this came out in 2006. If I have it right, yeah, the first film released by Paramount.
DreamWorks film released by Paramount.
Yes, it's a DreamWorks. The first DreamWorks
Paramount
film
already
released
existed.
by Paramount.
I thought Shrek was released by Paramount, though.
No, all previous films were released by DreamWorks Pictures, and then I think animation was spun off, and then they went into an agreement with Paramount from this point on.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So by this point, DreamWorks Animation is now separate from the company it was originally created with.
Weird, but also like if you ask someone to like name a DreamWorks movie, like they're gonna say Shrek or something. They're not gonna say like The Ring or Saving Private Ryan, even though those are DreamWorks movies.
You know,
but like when you think DreamWorks,
right.
you think of the animation studio.
Yeah, you do.
And like to be fair, if you ask someone to name a Disney movie, they're gonna say like Cinderella or something. They're probably gonna say an animated one, but
Yeah,
like
they're not gonna say Escape to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, but if you think of like what's like a classic live action Disney movie? Yeah, if you think of Mary Poppins or something, like if you think of like Old Yeller or something, like you know that that's a Disney movie, but if you think of like Saving Private Ryan, you don't think of that as a DreamWorks movie because you think of the animation.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally
Someone when they changed their logo, which I don't like the new logo for DreamWorks Animation.
I mean,
it's not.
We can sort of get to that as we get into the later movies.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say that I saw a tweet that said, like, imagine if this is what opened Saving Private Ryan. just flying by and saying hi to the boss baby.
The tonal whiplash is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so Over the Hedge. Again, I haven't seen it in multiple years, but I love this movie. It's great. It's hilarious. Again, Bruce Willis is RJ.
That was Bruce Willis?
Yeah, Bruce Willis was the raccoon. Who is in... Let me bring up who's in Over the Hedge.
I know Steve Carell is like the squirrel or something.
Yeah, also a great cast. William Shatner and Avril Lavigne as the possums.
Avril Lavigne, oh my god.
Yeah, this was back when Avril Lavigne was huge.
Doesn't get more 2006 than that. I would put this in C tier because I haven't seen it in so long that feels mean to put it in D tier. But I wouldn't put it above C tier. D tier, really? You think it's as good as like Madagascar?
I would hold them together. Yes. I really like these movies both, and just them getting giving these homeowners association Homeowners are just desserts. It's a fun
The
time. It's
visual,
amazing.
I don't really like the visual style. Like, I'll concede that I haven't seen this in long enough to really form an opinion, but I do not
Yeah,
like the visual style of it.
if you read the
So
newspaper
that's why it's
comic
in
and then
C
see
tier
the
for me.
movie, your neck will hurt from the whiplash. But I mean,
This was a newspaper comic? I thought it was like a
yeah,
children's book.
no, it was a newspaper comic strip.
Huh. I've never heard of the comic strip.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well,
this movie's great. I love it, and Ben Folds does the songs all Toy Story style, where it's him singing the songs, and they're great. I like a few Ben Folds songs. I know the YouTuber Jax Films is a huge fan of him.
I do love Jack's Films. Jack's Films does a lot of DreamWorks related content, surprisingly.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean the version of Rockin' the Suburbs that he did for this film is great. It's got William Shatner doing a spoken word bridge, and I love it so much.
I can't see it going above C tier. It just does not look good. It doesn't, I don't remember it being good.
I suppose I can caveat that maybe DreamWorks was going through some visual growing pains with this. This
Yeah,
and Shark Tale. I mean,
yeah.
Madagascar, I really like the style there, but
I don't know what they were trying to do, but it didn't look good.
all right. And we flushed away, so
Yeah, I took a DVD copy of that and I flushed it down the toilet, and now none of my pipes are working.
also
So we're not
really
going to talk about
weird
that.
that it's Aardman's attempt at a computer animated film.
Well, didn't the studio like burn down so they couldn't make it stop motion?
No, they just
That's like
couldn't
the
do it
only reason
because
it's CG.
water and plasticine don't mix very well. So it wasn't really practical to make
Really?
it.
Is that why?
Yeah,
I
because
feel like I heard a story
it's a
about like the
movie set in the
studio burning
sewer.
down. Hang on. Well,
Uh,
there are stop motion movies that have lots of water in them.
well, not to this extent. At least if I'm remembering Flushed Away correctly. So it wouldn't have been very practical, so that's why they decided to make it
Oh,
they made
okay,
that's why
yeah.
they made it a CG animated
Wikipedia is
film
supporting
that looks like they're stop motion animated films, which
Wikipedia is supporting your story. I don't know where that story came from that the studio burned down and they had to do CG. Maybe the studio did burn down, but it was
it
unrelated.
did, and I think they lost all of their old Wallace and Gromit puppets and a whole bunch of other stuff that they had in storage.
Oh, that's sad.
That is kind of sad, but yeah. Just for shits and giggles, I would put Flushed Away in C tier. It's
That's probably where I would put it. I saw it like once as a kid and I barely remember
I
it.
saw it a few times as a kid. Yeah, not all that memorable.
What's next?
I don't like the slugs looking back singing Proud Mary by Tina Turner. Like that's just a little too weird. Okay, next up. Another sequel, Shrek the Third.
Oh, D tier. It's bad. It's real bad. I don't think I've seen it since like college, maybe either college or high school.
I haven't
There are
seen
like
this
3 good
since,
jokes in it.
since I was a kid, and I don't remember much from it. I do remember
It's
Justin Timberlake played a weenie, and then Mary went off in the Discord.
Yeah. So we will get to that later, but Justin Timberlake plays an annoying little teenage King Arthur in this movie, and
If I recall
he's
correctly,
supposed to
that's his first animated film role, I think.
would not surprise me, but he like forms this bond with Shrek that's not believable at all, and he doesn't come back in any of the other movies because they know that everyone hates this one.
Yeah,
This is the
was
one
a
where
year after his second album, so he was hot shit.
and he is starring in this movie with his ex, and they are playing cousins. They never have a scene together, I don't think, even though they're related. I don't know if they're like cousins who were like close growing up or who like are related but don't really know each other. But they never. I don't think they ever talk to each other in that movie.
I suppose
But
in this film's benefit, going off of my memory, the the climax of the film where Prince Charming stabs Shrek, that genuinely shocked me as a kid. And
He didn't
then
actually stab him though.
yeah, it was the old oops, you got the armpit. The
Ugh.
that old stage trick.
I just think like Prince Charming only really worked as like a secondary villain in the second movie, and now
Yeah, cuz I
like
mean, he was
is
really prissy and just kind of
yeah,
annoying.
he's not really threatening. He's just kind of dumb.
He's
Uh,
dumb and he's a pretty boy, so he's very easy to hate and not in a love to hate kind of way.
and there's a lot of filler in this movie. There's a lot of like, well, we gotta have something happen, so Puss and Donkey switch bodies, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Fiona's
that did
pregnant.
happen.
She has a baby shower with all the princesses, and now Sleeping Beauty keeps falling asleep. It's funny. It's funny. Rapunzel has extensions. It's funny.
Yeah,
And
they
then
were
like they
I
do the
think they were
most.
being spread thin with this one.
Yeah, and they do the most like surface level critique of like the princess trope in this movie, which like they already did in the first one, so they didn't need it. But there's like all the princesses get captured and get put in the same cell, and they're like, oh, we need a plan. And then like everyone just kind of sits there, and Fiona's like, what are you doing? And they're like, waiting to be rescued. And I'm like, oh wow, you showed them. Great feminist critique.
Do they have a quote unquote girl power moment in this film where it's just all the
Yeah,
girls kicking ass together? Because that's a
yeah,
big thing too. That's a trope.
it's like Snow White like sings to all these birds, and then it kicks into the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin for some reason. And they're like I don't know, all the villains take over far, far away. John Cleese dies in like the first 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So,
His name
yeah.
is and then he croaks.
He croaked.
Yeah.
I
Just
feel
by
like they don't
chance if
talk
you
about
don't
that.
know, he's the frog prince. So,
Yeah. I don't think they discussed that enough in the third movie. Like if you're going to have
yeah. They barely they
if you need
barely
to pad the
acknowledged it in the
time, maybe.
second film. Like
No,
I
I'm
thought
talking about I'm talking about the fact that he dies.
oh, my bad.
I'm thinking like if you need to fill the time with something, maybe have like more than one scene where Fiona is sad that her dad died, because like you're still gonna be like not much time passes throughout this movie, so like that's still
Yeah.
pretty fresh.
Yeah. And I mean, that's generally like a lot for anybody's plate. Her father's passed away and she's carrying
She's
Shrek's triplet children.
she's carrying triplets. She kind of knows on some level that her husband's not psyched about it.
Yeah, it's
She's getting the short end of the stick in that movie. And
I
then like, oh twist, Rapunzel is dating Prince Charming, I guess. Oh, what a betrayal. I definitely care that that's happening. And
yeah,
yeah.
I will for the first time in a little bit, I'll agree with you and put this in D tier.
Yeah. There are like a couple of good jokes. I like the end credit song with Puss and Donkey. It sounds like they at least had fun recording that.
Yeah, but it's the
Okay.
redheaded stepchild of the Shrek saga.
Yeah, I will say, ever
Uh,
since I was a kid, I have
acknowledging that you're a redhead, right? Are you?
yeah, reddish brown.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Merida redhead, but there is red in my head.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
anyway.
what was I about to say? Oh yeah. Since I was a kid, I still think this. I still think that the donkey dragon babies are cute.
Yeah, the hybrids.
Yeah, I know that their union is an affront against nature, but the babies are cute. They didn't
Yeah.
ask to be born. The
And I
ogre babies,
mean,
I don't think are cute. I think the eyes are weird.
wait, are you talking about
It's really just
Shrek's kids? No.
yeah, it's really just the eyes that make them not cute because they're like too big and too realistic.
I think I think the babies are kind of cute.
They don't like horrify me, but I don't think they're cute because the eyes just make them look a little off.
Eh. Okay, we're
Do
back
you
to
know their names?
disagreeing. We're back to
Do you
disagreeing.
remember their names? Do you remember their names, AJ?
Farkle, Fergus, and Hold on. Farkle, Fergus, and Felicia. Look that up. Did I just
Yes.
nail it?
No, it's Fergus, Farkle, and Felicia.
Yes!
I love the
Oh, I
I
can't
love
believe I
the
did that.
I love the first time Jax Films did like a Shrek 5 Christmas song in his royalty-free Christmas songs video. He's saying like, "Where are Fergus, Farkle, and Felicia?" And he's doing this like angry, like pounding his fists
Yeah,
thing. Like
I
he's
remember that.
really adamant about this. It's just such a funny thing to imagine someone getting mad about.
The one
That
thing
we
I
don't have
remember
more
from
of
this
these
film, and
nothing
it's
characters.
Fergal, Fargus, and Felicia. Fergal, Fargus, and Felicia.
Fergal, Blurgle, and Turgle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next film. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its
Charles
wings are
Lindbergh
too
was a
small to
Nazi.
get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Cue the Wiz Khalifa.
You'd think we would have adjusted our laws of aviation based on bees. Said like, hey, something must be off.
Bees were honey badgers before honey badgers didn't give a fuck.
I think this was around the same time. Bee movie I would put in C tier.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, and it doesn't really appeal to me. Like Jerry Seinfeld bee possibly falling in love with a human, or
That's really all there is to it. It's just Jerry Seinfeld is a bee.
yeah. Although
It's not terrible.
this is another trailer I really loved to watch as a kid on the DVDs. It's
Mm.
Jerry Seinfeld and like some other people from the cast dressed in actual like bug cosplay. It's
Oh
as
yeah, I
if they're
remember
filming
that.
like a live action version of this, and this is the trailer where they're all splatted against the windshield and they're just spraying water at them to like mimic the washer fluid, and
Oh,
it's
I
just
remember that.
absolute anarchy, and I just love that trailer.
I am the only person watching this stream right now, but that's fine. We'll edit it down and it'll be maybe this will be a podcast release. I don't know.
Maybe
I think this might work as
keep it up
audio
on the
only,
YouTube
but
channel for posterity.
yeah. And we can like cut down a highlight reel. I never finished the highlight reel for Dangerous Currency. But what was I about oh yeah, on the Shrek 2 DVD there was a trailer for Madagascar and it's just like Ben Stiller has a globe and he's just like explaining what it is, basically.
I don't
'Cause
remember that.
They want you to know that there are celebrities in this movie. What's our next? B movie is really only novel because of the memes, and the memes stopped being funny like at least a few years ago. So there's really not much else to it.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, there's like a headline that was like Jerry Seinfeld apologizes for uncomfortable romance in B movie. I'm like, that's what he's going to apologize for, not dating a high schooler when he was 38.
And not apologizing for the ending of Seinfeld.
I'd say that dating a high schooler as a 38-year-old man was
that
worse.
as if that's more egregious than dating a high schooler.
We gotta step it up every time.
Okay, so next up, another potential new franchise here. B movie also released in 2007, by the way. Shrek the Third,
Yes.
B movie 2007.
Yes.
Now we've got our first movie that's come out in 2008. And I mean, you might have noticed that one of DreamWorks' many things was releasing multiple films a year. Right
It was
now,
a straight
of
up
course,
policy.
they've got
They had
just
two in
films.
2022.
They're so far have been releasing just 2 films a year. We'll see if that ever changes. So, our first film of 2008, Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda. This is I'd put it in A tier.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I
I
only
rewatched it
remember
for the
seeing
first.
bits and pieces of this, but I mean, Jack Black. He carries. The entire film's on his shoulders, and he carries.
Oh yeah. And this is I rewatched this for the first time in a while recently, and I was kind of expecting more out of it. I I think I was expecting it to be more like a certain other movie that we're going to talk about soon. But it is very good. I think it's just not great. I think
In that case, do
I
we want
think
to
it
put
was
it
just
in B tier?
Oh, yeah. No. No, still A tier. I think it's really, really, really good. It's just not quite a masterpiece. I don't know how to explain what's missing for me, but it feels like in comparison to the other movies that there's like something unfinished about it.
Yeah. And I've noticed that a lot of these DreamWorks films revolve around like groups of friends or just people that come together and really get to know each other. Like in Madagascar, they're all friends, they all live together. Over the Hedge, they all live together. Where do you think Kung Fu Panda ranks among these DreamWorks groups of friends?
Uh, I'd say
Poe and the
I'd say in the
Furious Five.
I'd say in the first movie it's like the same level as Madagascar.
Okay.
Have you seen the shorts?
I have not.
So they're on Netflix. I think they're really good. There's Secrets of the Masters, which I don't really go back to. I don't really care about the backstories of these masters that we barely see in the movies. But there's like Secrets of the Furious Five, which is like all of their origin stories. And then there's Secrets of the Scroll, which came out between two and three, which is like how the Furious Five all met. The one with the origin stories, like well, both of them, like they kind of make me emotional, like almost as much as the sequels to this movie do, because Tigress is like unequivocally like she's the most interesting character in the Furious Five. The rest of them are really just comic relief, and
Yeah, I'd agree.
the shorts really go into kind of her backstory and like why she is the way she is in the movies. And I think it's a really cool element that like you don't necessarily need in the movies, and they don't because like they're focused on Poe as the main character. They don't lose sight of that. But the shorts are a good way to kind of explore more of like how she got to be that way, and like really where her values lie. So I really like those. They're on Netflix
Yeah.
if you're in the US.
I guess I should say Poe's not the only person that carries in this film. I mean, what about Mr. Ping?
I mean, the entire voice cast is great.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid thinking Kung Fu Panda was just a really dumb title because it's just so literal. But I guess I can't really come up with a better one for this
Yeah.
movie.
It's catchy, it's eye grabbing, and it does great with internet SEO.
It tells you what it is.
Yep. And
So it
really
is.
should
It's a panda
title
who
do
does
any
kung fu.
more.
Yeah.
All
You know,
right.
the most important thing is the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm good with it in A tier. Our next film is yet another sequel, but it's not a Shrek sequel.
What?
It's Madagascar Escape to Africa.
This this one I definitely saw in theaters.
I didn't catch this one.
I'd put it in B tier with the first one.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Like I
I think
know
it's good,
they're
not
they're in
great.
Africa and it's dealing with Alex's family and stuff.
Yeah, and okay. Something I realized only recently is that so in the second one, the giraffe and the hippo like become a couple. I only realized
Wait,
recently that
what?
that's not a thing in the first movie. There's no hint that he likes
Yeah.
her because it's like one-sided at the beginning and
Yeah,
then they get
that's
together.
that's not a
It's
thing.
weird. It's a weird thing to
I
do, but I guess in the world of this movie, that's not something they're really thinking about. It's
yeah.
just like, oh well, we're all equally sentient, and basically human in nature.
Yeah, I'm not
I
okay
guess
with
because
that.
they grew up in captivity. Maybe that's why they're. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
I
Pretty much anytime there's like a couple
I'm
in these
downgrading it
movies,
to
with the
C tier because
exception
of that. No.
No, it's still good. It's still good.
All right. I
It's still good. That's just kind of a weird element if you think about it. My friend wants the link. She was eating dinner until now. Yeah, I would put it in B tier.
All right.
I think it's a fun one.
Rest in
I
peace,
think it's a
Bernie
little
Mac.
bit better. I think it's a little bit better than the first one. So, with the exception of Alex's parents, all the couples in these movies are like two different species. And you'll see more of that in the third one.
Yeah. Oh, Will I Am's in this one. Who is he?
Yeah, he plays Moto Moto,
I don't know who that
and
is.
he does the
Oh.
end credit song.
Oh.
I have a video of my cat Leo. My parents and I were watching this in our family room, and we had relatively recently gotten. We had finally switched out our old TV and gotten a smart TV, and for some reason Leo was like very interested in the smart TV, and so it's playing a scene from that movie, and he's just like crawling up. He's like on the entertainment center, and he starts like jumping up and trying to like paw at the screen because I think he like thought he saw a bug or something.
I will.
Yes.
Yeah, I will
I think it's a
change
little
it to.
bit better than the first one, but still B tier.
Yeah, I'll concede to that. I'm really not okay with Marty and Gloria being together, and that might
No,
turn
Mel
me off
Mel
from.
it's Melman and Gloria. It's the
Oh,
David Schwimmer giraffe and the Jada Pinkett
I
Smith
don't know
hippo.
why I thought it was.
No,
Maybe
the
because I
conflict
had
with
Chris
Marty in
Rock
that
and Jada
one.
Pinkett Smith in my head still.
Because we were talking about them, yeah. Well, no, the conflict with the zebra in that one is that he meets a bunch of other zebras who are exactly like him, and he starts to realize, oh wait, I'm not special. And then Alex like mistakes another zebra for him because they all look the same and sound the same, and so then he gets mad at Alex, even though like I don't know, he just kind of like mistook him because he looks and sounds exactly like you. It's not like I don't know why you're so mad about that. It's a weird
Alex is
kind of
racist? Question
contrived.
mark.
Well, even the zebras in the movie acknowledge that they're all exactly the same. So I don't know. I think Marty was just projecting on him.
Yeah. Well, we'll just. I think we'll just move on.
Oh,
Uh.
this is also I think this is the first DreamWorks movie with Alec Baldwin.
Uh. You might be right about that. Alec Baldwin is in this movie.
Yep.
Next film. Monsters vs. Aliens came out March 27th, 2009.
I saw some of this in like high school. I think it could go in C tier. I wouldn't put it below C tier. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's awful.
Yeah, I would concede to that. I haven't seen this film all the way through, never really had an interest. Uh the way they did the missing link is weird.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I guess so, but he's got nipples and a belly button and is like
Oh
reptilian. It's
yeah.
weird.
Well, that's why he's the missing link, is because he has these human traits, but also is not human? Question mark. I do like the joke that the Invisible Man died of a heart attack and he's still there. They just never told the Blob.
Yeah, it's so weird. This movie is weird. It
There are
sits
some
really
funny.
weirdly in the DreamWorks pantheon.
There are some good jokes, but I don't think it's a great movie.
It was DreamWorks Animation's first feature film to be directly produced in a stereoscopic 3D format instead of being converted to 3D after completion, which added $15 million to the film's budget. Oh yeah, this was back when 3D was the hot thing in theaters, right?
Oh, everything had to be in 3D. Yeah.
Yeah, 2009 is also when Avatar came out.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna help.
I think I saw it in 3D in theaters at the time.
I've never seen Avatar. I don't plan to. Got nothing
It's
against
pretty
it.
good. It's, you know,
I got nothing against it. It just doesn't interest me.
James Cameron films, at least story-wise, aren't like the greatest, but they're pretty good.
I think the only one I've seen is Titanic.
I saw Titanic multiple times as a baby. My parents would often take me to see the film because the ship sinking sequence would actually make me fall asleep.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it made you laugh. My mom saw it while she was
No, I
pregnant
was
with
like
me.
a actual baby
Mm.
when the film was out. And then years later when they re-released it in 3D, I saw it and could actually comprehend the story, and it almost made me cry.
Almost.
Yeah. I
We'll get him
haven't
someday.
hopefully someday. Another movie that almost made me cry, Disney's Bridge to Terabithia.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, that was heavy for I think I was 10 years old at the time whenever
Okay,
that
I
film
just
came
want to
out.
say this. I just want to say this before I forget. Anybody who is watching this either now or probably later in the VOD, there's nobody here now. Um, but anyone who saw that tweet from I want to say it was Crimson Mayhem that said like I bet you can't name one bad DreamWorks movie. That was a joke. He is an animation YouTuber. He knows that there have been bad DreamWorks movies. He was baiting you. It was very obvious because in the replies someone said Boss Baby and he said I've never heard of it. Is it good? Uh he was messing with you and a lot of you fell for it. So, yeah, just don't reference that as like, oh, this is one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen. This guy thinks every DreamWorks movie is a banger. No, he doesn't. That was bait.
You know, we shouldn't be surprised that people on Twitter disappoint us. People in the replies on Twitter disappoint us because they so frequently do. It's like one of the hallmark features of Twitter.
Yeah, I think it was really just people who don't know who Crimson Mayhem is, which
I
I
mean,
can't.
I've never heard
He's,
of them.
I mean, he's not like Shane Dawson big, which is good, but I mean, he's basically just big on like animation YouTube. Um, I don't watch a lot of his videos, but I just know I'm just aware of him, so like I knew that was probably a joke that he posted.
I'm looking him up right now.
But he got that engagement. You gave him that engagement.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard of this person. Well, there might be a new YouTube channel for me to check out. Next film from the directors of Lilo and Stitch came out March 26, 2010. How to Train Your Dragon.
I gotta say S tier.
I will agree. This is a fantastic movie.
It is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I need to watch it
We've
more.
had a bunch of mid-tier films, some stinkers in here. This is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This I mean Lilo and Stitch was the first movie I saw in theaters and no matter how many times I see it, I'm always like surprised by how good it is. Like it's always better than I remember. And I feel like the next time I watch How to Train Your Dragon, it's gonna be even better than I remember. But that
Yeah.
is like it looks beautiful. The John Powell score is
Uh
amazing. Toothless is adorable and I love him.
Toothless is incredible. He's the goodest boy.
He's the best boy.
He's the
One
best
time,
boy. Hiccup
the movie
is adorkable.
Hiccup, Hiccup, I'm all right with. He's just a little guy. He's just a little dude.
Another film where I hesitated because I was like, "Oh, another film with daddy issues." And I'm like, "Do I want to frame it that way?"
Is what they are.
I suppose. Father-son conflict.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's just a really great movie. One time it was on TV, in the family room, and my sister walked in like the middle of it, and it's the scene where like Toothless ends up underwater, and she's just like, "No, the baby dragon." She hasn't been watching it all. She comes in, she's like, "No, he's so cute."
Yeah. But yeah, Hiccup and Toothless's dynamic is amazing. great action sequences. Like this film is just really really good. And like so far we haven't really expected like Disney films can be really really good. DreamWorks films are usually all right. It's usually kind of rare to see a really really good DreamWorks film, and How to Train Your Dragon is definitely one of them.
I don't think it would exist or be as good as it is if Chris Sanders hadn't left Disney.
Yeah. And I mean, he hasn't, at least I haven't heard from him all that much besides this movie and Lilo and Stitch. And is that kind of a shame?
There's he's got another movie coming up on this list. But for now, give me a second because I have to pee really bad. So
All
I'm gonna
right.
mute myself.
We're going to take a really quick break and we'll be back in a sec.
All right, we are, I think, about halfway through.
Hey, we're back.
We're probably not exactly halfway through, but we've been through 12 years worth of DreamWorks movies, and we've got about 12 years to go. So I think we should stop and play our AO3 game.
Ooh, fun.
So this is a little game where we go on Archive of our own. We search up the title of one of these movies with no filters, and we see how long it takes to get to a smutfic. We're not going to read the smutfic. We're not going to subject you to that.
Oh yeah.
If there's some particularly
there's my
if there's
archive
some
of our own.
yeah, well, I've got it open on mine. You don't have to show everyone your username.
Well, I mean, I
Um,
can't I think we're going to have to do it from mine because I'm running the stream.
yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I don't think they need to see the fix. I mean, I guess they can, but we're gonna take our guesses. I guess for now, we're only gonna do the movies that we've ranked already.
Okay.
We are
So
but we are gonna make our guesses as to how many fix it's gonna take to find a smut one.
yeah, and how do you want to do this? Cuz AO3 allows you to sort by hits, by date posted, or first update. Like how do we want to sort the list?
Go by like the most recent update.
Okay. All right. So, which film do we want to tackle first?
Let's just do them in order. Let's start with ants.
Oh
And
boy.
let's make our guesses before we look anything up. I think I don't think there's gonna be very many.
Yeah, I think
Um,
there's going to be
so
barely any ants fix.
with that in mind, I don't think it's gonna take long. If there is a smut fic, I don't think it's gonna take long to find it. I'd say 5 or 6.
I think my first thoughts were either 6 or 12. So, I'm going to say 6 as well.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
I can't see your screen, so I
All right. Well, I
because
think you may I think you may have
there's
to
a
tune
delay
into
with the
the
stream.
screen
So.
to the stream. Actually,
I am tuned into the stream, but there's a delay.
let me see if I
So
can.
makes
I'm going to try and share my screen to you.
okay. So just make sure you click on like
Oop. Well, that's all right. You can see it, right? Can you see it? Mary, you frozen. Hello? Oh boy. Mary, you disappeared on me.
no, I could hear you. You can hear me.
Okay. Might have been something weird on my end. So I think you'll just have to tune into the stream.
I am tuned into the stream, but there's a
Okay.
delay. That's the problem.
Okay. So I had to search it up, but now I found the
Well, make sure you're like on
Yeah, I've selected
The
the
one.
actual official like fandom,
Okay.
and there are only 5. So
I'm just also gonna do it on my end just so I can see it.
already we've busted out. So Will Smith fish slaps Chris Rock zebra at 3 a.m. Gone sexual.
Wait, hang on. I'm trying to find the. No one
Yeah, I
tell me.
had to
Okay.
search it and then find the
Okay, I'm gonna say it doesn't count if it's like oh. I'm gonna say it only counts if there is a smut section for the movie. Like if it's a crossover, if it's just like a collection of one shots.
yeah, all of these basically are like multi fandom fix. So Ants is a bust.
Okay, we're just not gonna because I don't want to click on that and have that in my search history. So let's
Let's
do Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt? Okay.
See some Bible fan fiction.
Some holy fuck.
I'm more expecting. Okay, so I'm not expecting there to be a lot of fix for this either. I'm thinking 20 at most, so I think it's gonna take
There are
8.
147 works in The Prince of Egypt.
Okay.
I'm going to say
In that case, I think 20.
I was thinking 22. 20 as well. All right.
Okay.
So, let's see.
One of these was updated very recently.
1, 2. This is a multi.
I hate this. You know what? Let's just.
Oh,
Okay, I'll make a caveat to.
I think we've got it.
Oh, there it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh,
6.
wait. Is it the one called Desert Nights? Because I don't
Yes.
think that's like a full-on smut fic. I think the next one
The
would
tags are
count as.
making love and sensuality.
Yeah, but is it explicit? Because it's mature,
Okay.
it's not explicit.
Well,
The first explicit one is the
went
next
over
one.
either way.
The first explicit one is the next one, and it's Moses X Reader.
It's a private favor.
One of the
All right. Well, it took
one of the
7
tags is
fix to get to a
one of the
smut
tags
one.
is just one of the tags is just gay. So I guess only gay men are supposed to read that one.
Well, they're both gay. I think that's what that means.
Prince of Egypt fan 2004. Was this person born in 2004? Are they 18 years old? I don't like that.
I don't know. This was uploaded October 24th, 2022.
Yeah. All right.
So
Oh,
let's not
Red Dead.
think about it too
Oh,
hard.
Eldorado. Eldorado's gonna have a lot because so many people ship Miguel and Tulio.
Well, I
So,
mean, they're very easily shippable.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's not gonna take long to get to Smutfic. I'm gonna say like 5.
The Road of El Dorado. There we
The road
go.
to Eldorado.
Yeah, that's right. Did you say 5?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 7. All right, here we go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You were the closest without
8.
going over.
The Road to
I'm just
Pleasure.
these tags.
Eventual foursome.
Thirsty
All right. Well, it took 8.
Oh no, the next
fix
one's Shrek,
for the
isn't
Road
it?
to El
Oh wait, no.
Dorado.
Wait, is there one in between this one and Shrek, or is Shrek the next one?
I think Shrek is the next one. This
Okay,
one's
Shrek
gonna
is the
have
next one.
thousands of fix. I think we're gonna get to one.
I think we're gonna get to one pretty quickly, but it's probably gonna be one that was written as a joke. So I'm gonna say like 10.
I'm gonna say 3. Shrek.
All right, let's see.
movies.
Shrek.
Uh,
Shrek.
let's see.
Don't count the
1,
Puss in Boots one. Don't worry. Don't count the Puss in
2,
Boots ones. Those don't.
yeah,
Oh, that's
3.
interesting. Okay. This is kind of giving away some of these. Wait, hang on. No, the Puss in Boots ones don't count. I don't know what you're looking at.
Shrek movies.
That's what I'm looking at too, and a lot of Puss in Boots ones are showing up. Okay, I guess we'll exclude crossovers. Maybe that's what's.
Do you want to do that?
Nope, they're still showing up. They're still showing up. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm
I'm just
say
looking for
I was
one that's
correct.
But why didn't yours show the Puss in Boots ones?
No, it does.
But then how'd you find the ones that are specifically for Shrek? Because I still can't find those.
I just clicked
Oh,
on the
there's one.
fandom that says Shrek movies.
Well, no, that's what I'm at too, but like they're all Puss in Boots until like 20 down. And this is like
Oh.
probably written as a joke. It's called I Entered His Swamp. It's Barack Obama ex Shrek.
This is on some Shrek is love, Shrek is life bullshit right here.
The last and it was posted today. And the last tag is light angst.
Light angst.
Just a little bit of angst. One of the other tags
Michelle
is
Obama
cheating,
is
so
tagged in here. So that
maybe the angst comes from the fact that they're cheating on their wives.
yeah.
All right. Next one's Spirit, right?
That's correct. I don't think there are
Okay.
going to be very many fics for that one.
I hope. Oh, I got nothing. Literally nothing is showing up for the full title of the movie, but maybe if I just say Spirit, well, that's going to show a lot of.
Oh God, I've been spoiled.
Is
make
it the
a
first
prediction,
one?
Make a prediction.
4.
It's
If
the
you were spoiled that
first
quick.
one. Actually, wait. It's a crossover with My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Do you want to count that?
Characters are doing it. Between a human and oh no. Oh, I don't like that.
The first one
All right.
and its bestiality.
Yeah, all right. What's the next one? Is it Shark? No. What's next? Sinbad?
Sinbad.
Or Rota? Oh, wait, we did that already.
Friggin' A. I got something in
Wait,
my
did we
eye.
do? We did Rota. Yeah, we did Rota El Dorado. I'm just gonna look up Sinbad. That'll probably, hopefully, come up fast. Okay, there's an anime.
Come on.
There's whatever
Where's the
this
fandom
is.
I'm looking for?
Where's
There it is.
where's
Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas.
okay.
106 works. So I'm thinking
Okay.
7.
I'm gonna say 10.
Because we've got one here, but it's of
Actually, you know what?
fic.
I think anybody who's gonna write fan fiction for Sinbad is only gonna do ship fan fiction. I don't know what else they would write about. There's nothing particularly interesting in that movie. Let's see.
Okay. So
Nope, it's the second one.
fic. That's a multi-fandom fic. It doesn't count.
Yeah, but it's I think they're all I think every
A
chapter
series of
is
aftermaths of the movies.
Yeah, I think every chapter is smut. So I think that counts.
So that's number 2.
That's 2. We were both wrong, but
Impregnation.
you were technically the closest, but neither of us were really close.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Shark Tale. If we were going off of
Shark
fresh
Tale,
movies.
okay. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it individually for every like sequel. Shark Tale, Oh, that's for a different fandom. Okay. Shark Tale, I'm gonna say same thing for Shrek. There's some that are like written as a joke. I'm gonna say it takes like 3.
I'm going to say 10.
All right, let me just find the actual.
Yeah, I got to scroll. There it is. Shark Tale 2004. 17 works. Let's see. Multi-fandom fic. The Downfall of Shadow the Hedgehog 2, The Resurrection.
There's a crossover with SpongeBob.
You want to count that or no?
Yeah, I'll count it.
It's Mr. Krabs, and I think that's Robert De Niro's character.
I think it's the De Niro character. All
What?
right, let me find Madagascar
It's the
movies. I'm going.
it's the return of Will Smith fish slaps Chris Rock zebra.
Okay,
Uh,
there are 281 Madagascar works. I'm gonna say it'll take. I know I keep saying 10, but 10.
I'm gonna say 8.
Okay,
All right. Sans Danganronpa.
3. It took 3.
And you know what? Of course it's an Alex Marty fanfic.
To their credit, they did make them human for this
There
story.
will be hot. What does that mean?
I mean, you'll just have to read it to find out.
Which we can't do on stream. So,
No, we can't. We would get in trouble.
fuck I'm not searching up Wallace and Gromit fanfic. I'm not
Well, no,
gonna
that one
expose
doesn't count
myself to
anyway.
that. Over
All
the
right,
Hedge
well,
is next. I'm
over the
gonna
hedge.
say
I'm
20.
gonna say just because I've
And
been
I'm gonna
proven
say
wrong so many times.
I'm gonna say the
I'm
one
gonna
we
say
come
5.
across is gonna be an RJ Verne fanfic.
I'm gonna say 5.
Where's the
There it
fandom
is.
I want? Where's the fandom I want?
There are 26. There are 26 works.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was
That's all I've
cross-posted
shouted.
on fanfic.net.
Oh,
5,
good for them.
6, 7.
I,
Male slash. Does that count? It's
if
rated.
it
It's
doesn't,
rated M,
mm,
but there's no explicit tags on it.
yeah,
Age
I would say that
difference.
doesn't count.
Coming
I'm gonna
out.
assume. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that
Interspecies
that's not.
relationship.
I'm gonna assume that that's not. This one's 23 words. I don't know if they meant to
8,
tag that as explicit.
9, 10,
I'm not.
11,
I'm not
12,
gonna count
13,
that.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Are you looking at the? Are you looking at the one that's tagged explicit?
Nope. The one above that. Once
Oh,
again, it's an
yeah.
RJ
Missed
and
that.
Ozzy fic. I never would have thought of that pairing.
I don't know which one Ozzy is.
Uh, he's William Shatner's character. He's the possum.
Oh, okay. What's next? B movie?
I wrote this instead of sleeping. That makes a lot of
Of course
sense.
you did. Is B
Shrek
movie
the
the next one?
Third. B movie is next.
Okay. I'm gonna say 2 because I think this is another case where people are writing it as a joke, and like the fact that a human falls in love with a bee is like a huge meme.
It's gonna be the first fic I see. Bet.
Oh, yeah, that right.
Dang it! All right, Mary, you win.
I win.
This is
It's
based
2.
on the fan.
The first one does have is a ship between Barry and Shrek, but it's not smut. The second one is smut.
I don't see any explicit. This one's marked explicit. The B movie, Love and Affairs, but there's no like
Let's see.
explicit tags in it. There's
Crack.
Fortnite. Fortnite is tagged. Does that count?
All right, the third
It's
one
the
might
third
be.
one.
Oh, yeah,
Urethral play.
Yeah.
Bestiality, or could I say
Or I could say
bestiality?
bestiality. That's hilarious. I love it. What's next? Kung Fu Panda?
Fu Padna. Kung
Okay,
Fu
I
Padme.
think here's the thing. I think there's going to be a lot of angst fics for that one, so I think it's going to be a little bit before we find a smut fic. I think it's going to take 15.
I'm gonna say 23. And
Let's
let's add
specific.
another factor in it. Who's gonna be shipped?
Doesn't matter because we're both wrong. It's the first one.
Oh.
In a modern-day setting, Poe lives with his amorous-driven stepsister, which leaves him feeling like a cuckold, but things change when a blast from the past comes to help him and encourages Poe to go on a journey to become the greatest stud in the weirdest way.
Kinda a critique on masculinity?
Maybe?
Fluff and smut, cross-posted on fanfic.net. A lot
Oh,
going
good to
on.
know. Good. I really I need to find it. Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot going on.
I think
26
Monsters
chapters,
versus.
only 11 have been uploaded thus far.
Oh no, we have to know how it ends.
All right.
I think Monsters versus Aliens is the next one.
Yep. I'm going to
I'm gonna
say
say
6.
I'm gonna say 3.
Here we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Are we going to get fanfic blue balls here? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31? Nah, 32, 33. I think we have a winner.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
One day more.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
Oh, yeah, I missed that. I missed those tags. Okay, I was thinking there's one like a few down from that.
Dr. Cockroach's new invention?
Yeah. Okay, so next is How to Train Your Dragon. And then we can keep ranking. I'm gonna say 2.
I'm gonna say the first one, and it's gonna be a Hiccup and Toothless fanfic, and I'm scared.
Not the first one.
I'm scared.
But I was also wrong. Let's see.
How to Train Your Dragon movies. 1, 2.
I don't count that one.
3, 4, 5. Do you want to count this one? It's tagged sexual content.
I wouldn't count that as.
It's Hiccup and an OC.
Yeah, I think we're gonna look for one that's
6, 7. Nope. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, it's a human dragon relationship, and it's rated M, but there are no explicit tags on it. And it's a Hiccup Toothless fic.
Yeah, of course it is.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Going to the next page. 21, 22. I think we've got it.
All right.
His Twisted Game
Hooray.
by Unholy Offspring.
Okay, I think we can get back to ranking now.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was so fun. I can't wait to do more of it.
All right.
All right,
so
what's next? Shrek 4?
I guess I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of G-rated fics in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
All right. Next film, Can Shrek Find Redemption? The franchise and the character itself, I suppose, with Shrek Forever After.
Do you have an inflation fetish that's weirdly specific to cats? I hope not, but if you do, this is your movie.
This is your movie. I did not like that.
I'd put it in B tier.
Maybe it's because I like Puss in Boots a lot, and he didn't get to do much in this film because of that. Or maybe it's maybe it's also because I'm fat phobic.
Maybe. Everyone cancel AJ.
Yep.
There are things I like about this movie, but I don't know, it doesn't really feel much like a Shrek movie for some reason.
It's Groundhog Day, but if it was Shrek.
Well, it's not Groundhog Day, it's like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, you're right, I'm stupid.
So is Shrek in this movie. They make him an idiot in this movie.
He's a
Yeah, just
dad. He's got to be the dopey dad trope, don't you know?
every decision he makes in this movie is so dumb. And like the fact that like when everything goes back to normal at the end, it's like before he says this horrible, horrible thing to his wife that I think would be grounds for divorce if someone ever said that to me. Uh
Yeah.
and like you don't even need it because he just smashed his kid's birthday cake. Like that can be the thing where it's like, okay, things are bad. I'm gonna storm out now, and then the rest of the movie is gonna happen. He doesn't also have to tell his wife that he wishes they'd never met. Like that is awful, and it doesn't make me want to see him succeed. It makes me want to see them go to fairy tale divorce court. And I can see what Jello Apocalypse was the one who said that this feels more like a fanfic than anything else.
That's very valid.
Because when you judge it on that metric, it's not as bad. It's definitely better than Shrek the Third, but most movies are. That's not a high bar. That's not a high bar to cross. I think it's all right. It doesn't like offend my sensibilities. I'm not like mad that it exists, but it's not something I go back to a whole lot.
It's just all right.
Yeah.
Like, Shrek is their big money maker, so, you got to have a Shrek film in there, but,
The ending really like puts all this emphasis on like this is the last one, this is the end, and now they're like we might make a fifth one. You know what? This is a good time to start making our predictions for Shrek 5.
Oh yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen in Shrek?
Well, I said it in the Discord, somebody's gonna die.
Oh, someone I'm sure. Will it be a major character? Maybe not. They want to keep making money off of this.
Nah, it's gonna be a major character.
I think if it's going to be any of the major characters, it's going to be Dragon. They're not going to kill off Puss in Boots because that's very profitable. They're not going to kill off
major character.
They're not going to kill.
Though.
Well, they're not going to kill off like Shrek or Donkey.
I think
because then they can't. Because then they can't bring them back for Shrek 6.
They're gonna kill Donkey. I think they're gonna kill Donkey.
They're not going to kill Donkey.
They're gonna fucking kill Donkey. That's how you shut him up, don't you know?
Yeah, but he's such a popular character, and they want to leave it open if they want to make another one. So I think the triplets are going to be grown up, and well, not like adults, but they're going to be like a little bit older, like and they might be going on their own. I think they might be like kids. I don't think they want to make them too old. But I think they're going to have their own little adventure. Maybe they have to like prove themselves to their parents, prove that they can. Maybe something happens to all the adult characters, and then the kids have to fix it. And I think one of the kids is going to be voiced by someone who was in the original Broadway cast of Hamilton. No one in particular, just someone who was in that cast.
Daveed Diggs.
Yeah, one of them is going to be Daveed Diggs.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? What else can happen in Shrek 5? Too many Shreks.
Too many Shreks.
That can lead into Shrek 6, not enough Shreks. Where'd they all go?
And what exactly is bringing Puss, Kitty, and Perrito back?
That's
whatever
true.
Adventure they've been on that we're probably going to cover in a few minutes.
That's true. AJ, I'm sorry to spoil it for you, but Puss in Boots 2 does end with a sequel tease for Shrek 5.
I've read the Wikipedia plot summary. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, so they gotta bring those three in. So it's gotta be like their Infinity War, basically. Or they're probably just the Avengers. It's not as big as Infinity War. Infinity War would be if they like also brought in like I don't know, How to Train Your Dragon.
Shrek and Kung Fu Panda take place in the same universe? And that's what's gonna happen. Shrek 5 is gonna be a crossover.
Yeah, Shrekfinity War.
Shrekfinity War. Yep.
I think. Okay, so something. I think. So something they hint at in Puss in Boots 2 is that Puss and his love interest were going to get married, and then independently of each other decided not to go to the wedding. But they get back together at the end. So I think if we don't see the wedding, they're gonna be married when the movie starts.
Yeah,
it'll have happened off screen.
I think that's definitely going to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the plot will be incited by their wedding.
Maybe a villain crashes the wedding and they all have to fight him, and then all the adults get captured and the kids have to save the day.
You know what? Mary's just written the movie herself.
I just wrote the movie. Someone DreamWorks send me a check. I almost said Shrek legitimately. That is
Yeah.
not a joke. I almost said
Send Mary a Shrek.
send me a Shrek check.
There are too many Shreks in this movie, so send Mary
You know
one.
what? You know what? You know what? I know that for people who work at DreamWorks Animation, once they've worked there for a year, they get a little Shrek trophy. Just send me one of those.
Yeah, just find one that happens to be on eBay and just buy it up and send it to Mary.
Someone who got laid off from DreamWorks and was like, I don't need this anymore.
All right. Let's move on to the next film. Oh, by the way, I should mention, 2010, our first DreamWorks year where they released 3 films in a year. It was How to Train
Good
Your
for them. They
Dragon,
should.
and then Shrek Forever After, and then our next film released in November, Megamind.
Which I would put in A tier.
I would also agree.
I think it's very good. I don't think it's a
If
masterpiece.
Jack Black carried Kung Fu Panda, Will Ferrell carries Megamind.
Will Ferrell is very funny in this movie.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
like that there are a lot of animated movies where it's like someone's been put into the position of being a bad guy and the trailer has them be like, I don't want to be the bad guy anymore. This one I like the added twist
I
that
mean,
the
you're saying that
superhero
because
also
you have Wreck-It Ralph on the mind, I'm sure. On the
well, it's
Megamind.
Wreck-It Ralph, it's like Despicable Me, it's the bad guys, which we'll get to. But
Would you say Megamind
yeah,
started the trend?
I mean, a lot of these were in production at like the same time. I think it's just a coincidence that they all came out around the same time. But I like the added twist that the
Now,
superhero
March of the
also
Penguins,
doesn't.
Happy Feet, Surfs Up. There was some conspiracy going on there, I tell ya.
I don't know. This happens. There are a lot of conspiracies in Hollywood, but I like the added twist that the superhero also doesn't really like being a superhero anymore.
And he looks
So
like
he's just like,
Markiplier.
so he's fully ready to just let this guy take over. He's like, no, if you want to be the good guy, you can. I really don't care what you do at this point.
And also, I have to look at this. His name is Metro Man, and like
Trauma.
Metroman. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a dumb name for a superhero?
I think that's intentional.
Yeah, he's just named after the city he continually protects. Like,
Well, he's like a mascot.
I guess, yeah.
I really don't. I like the gag of him mispronouncing a bunch of stuff, even though he's been on Earth his entire life. There's no reason for him to not know these words.
Yeah.
I know there are some jokes that I really liked in this movie, but I haven't seen it recently enough for any to really come to mind. So I
Going
think we
back
should,
to,
unless
the
you have,
triumphant closing number, the movie ending on Michael Jackson's "Bad" is just the most perfect.
it is until you get to like 2019 and Leaving Neverland comes out. Moving on.
Okay then, moving on. Our first film of 2011, Kung Fu Panda 2.
Here.
I think Discord slurred that together. What did you say?
I said S tier.
I don't remember much from this movie, so I'm gonna let you make the case. Why is this S
It
tier?
is fantastic. It is as good as much as I like the first one. This one is like pretty much everything that I think a perfect execution of the concept of the first one would be this movie. And I don't say that just because there's like a dramatic backstory in it. I don't think you need that necessarily, but I think the fights all look better. The animation looks way better. They're all gorgeous movies, but this one I think is even prettier than the first one. You go a little bit you don't dive very deep into Tigress's character, but she has a little more to do than she did in the first one. And there's a nice kind of like friendship with her and Poe. And even without knowing her backstory, if you haven't seen those shorts, like she's still a very interesting character and a very likable one. And the villain is very like he has like just the right balance of being like scary and funny when he needs to be. and I think the villain is much more interesting than the first one as well. Uh, just all the conflicts are very. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of very complicated emotions that I think they all pay off very well. This does the Prince of Egypt thing where a character is referencing something that happened when the main character was a baby, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you don't remember that." And I'm like, "He was a baby," but then it turns out he does remember that, and I think there's this great moment where he finally remembers what happened to his birth mother, ignoring the fact that he was a baby and shouldn't be able to remember. But it's these movies use 2D animation very well. They'll like if there's like a flashback or a dream sequence or something, it'll be 2D and it'll look very good.
Yeah.
There's one where like Poe is like getting like these flashes of memories of like his childhood and what happened to his birth parents, and those are all in 2D until he fully remembers everything that happened and he realizes what happened to his mother. Then it switches to 3D, and it's just like a scene of like he almost remembers what happens and then he stops, and then Michelle Yao, I think is how you pronounce it, her character says like stop fighting it, and it's like he on some level knows what happens next, but he like doesn't want it to be real, but he has to sort of like accept it as part of his journey, as part of his story in order to move forward, which I think it's a very clever way to show it, and it's a very mature thing for a movie like this to do. Because it's not saying like, oh, this horrible thing that happened was a blessing in disguise. It's just saying like that you have to acknowledge that happened, but it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what's happening now, where you are now.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
So it is a fantastic movie. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I will admit I'm much more familiar with the third movie because I saw it at work recently, and we will get to all that. So I will let you have KFP 2 at S tier. Now then, I would like to get into this next one, the first
Go right ahead.
Puss in Boots movie.
Haven't seen it since high school. I'll let you take the wheel.
Yeah, this is another one that I think I caught it on HBO one time in 2011, and then again my TL put this on like one day at work, and so I'm casually glancing over and watching it, and then I remembered just this is a pretty good film and really cements Puss in Boots as like maybe one of my possibly my favorite character in the Shrek franchise.
For liking it okay. Didn't really make much of an impression on me. I just remember like the only real problem I had with it, I think, was that Humpty Dumpty like keeps going back and forth between being like the villain but not a villain, but he is a villain but he's not.
That's kind of
And like
the central thing with his character. Like he's kind of a screw up, but he does have these flashes of like, oh, maybe I can be a good guy, or maybe I'm not as bad as my actions, but then he just kind of slides back into being a horrible person.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth. The Selma Hayek love interest, which by the way, I found out I need to watch more movies because Antonio Banderas and Selma Hayek have been in like 20 movies together. This was like their sixth movie they did together.
Oh yeah. Have you seen Robert Rodriguez's Desperado?
I have not.
You should see that. That is a awesome movie, and they are the two leads. She's the love interest, and their chemistry is just fantastic. I guess you could say there is a reason why they've been in so many movies together. They're electric.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure they work great together. I know Antonio Banderas is like just so good at everything he does, pretty much.
Oh yes,
he's
absolutely.
A great actor, great singer, pretty good voice actor, and those are two different skills. Like not everyone can do both.
Yeah. Chris Pratt. Easy joke. Easy joke.
I mean, it worked in the Lego movie, but then like I don't know. But yeah, and he's very funny as Puss too.
Oh yeah.
I found out he was in the Spanish version of Company. He played Bobby, so he sings the Spanish version of Being Alive, which is a great song by Sondheim. I really like the Brian Stokes Mitchell version of that song. Um, but like what else? He was Che and Evita. He's really good in that. I love Lady's Got Potential. That's probably my favorite Andrew Lloyd Webber song. Granted, I don't like that many Andrew Lloyd Webber songs. But yeah, I remember this being okay. I don't love the design of the Selma Hayek character. I don't love the huge eyelashes and the like almost human proportions, but not quite. Like she still looks like a cat, but she's not quite a cat. I don't know.
I suppose, yeah. They
I mean,
were still
she
kind
is
of
a
doing the
cat, but
thing
it's
where you have to make the female character more ladylike, but
the
not.
character has to be curvy regardless of
Yes.
species. Which is that's another thing I appreciate about the Kung Fu Panda movies is they do not do that. If they're trying to visually signify that a character is female, they'll do it by like maybe drawing their eyes a little different or like giving them hair. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the most obvious characteristic.
This movie on my list, I'm putting this in B tier, but you can do what you want.
I'll put it in A because I think it's really good, and just the way they build the backstory of Puss and Humpty, I think it's really compelling and really
I
kind
do
of
like that at the
it
end.
serves
I
its
like
purpose, yeah, to make Humpty's sacrifice really mean something.
Yeah, I do like at the end when he like sees his adoptive mother for like the first time and since this thing happened
Yeah.
that like made him like ashamed and
Since
he's like bringing
the failed bank
he like
robbery.
but he like comes back and you hear him off screen say like I have a gift for you and then you look and he's dropped a dead bird on the ground.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's just cat humor, you know. Just like how they had him cough up a hairball in Shrek 2. You just gotta
That
I
was
suppose you gotta
that was
get
his
into that.
downfall.
You gotta remember that despite all these swashbuckling characteristics and these grand locales that he's gone to, he's still a cat at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, for
All right.
me, this is A tier. All
All
right.
right, you put it in A tier.
All right.
Excuse me.
Da 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 circus.
Madagascar 3. I'd put this in A tier. I think it's really good.
I'll admit that kind of turned me off to wanting to see the film, so I don't really know.
It's obnoxious marketing, but it's a very small part of the actual movie.
I guess so.
The
And
actual
I
movie,
mean,
I think, is
the
pretty good.
the tiger's hot.
Yeah, the tiger, you will not be surprised to learn, is Alex's love interest.
I've
Oh wait, no, not the tiger. The leopard was his love interest. The tiger was the Russian guy.
yeah.
You would be surprised to
I
learn
was
that actually. I changed my mind.
I was actually debating looking to see if you were correct because I'm like, "Oh, how progressive." But this is still like
oh, I can't-
2012.
I'm surprised I never heard about that.
Yeah, this is still 2012.
All right, what else did they do? I don't really have much to say about this, do you?
I don't really.
I
I feel
think
like
it's
putting it in B tier then, if it's not all that memorable.
well, no, it's not that it's not memorable. It's just that it's not one of my absolute favorites, so I don't have that much to say about it. But I think it's good enough for A tier.
Okay, I'll concede to that, and we'll put it in A.
Or
tier.
if we put it in
Because
B tier, we just acknowledge that it's like a little bit better.
Yeah,
I can
I
put
think
it in
it's
B tier.
actually considered to be the best
Well, it is written by
Madagascar
Noah
film, at least
Baumbach.
critically.
It is written by Noah Baumbach to pay for his divorce.
All right.
Do you know who that is? Do you know that story?
I don't.
So he is the writer director of Marriage Story, and which is like largely autobiographical. It's a Netflix drama from a couple years ago that got like a ton of Oscar nominations. It's the one with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. So he wrote that about like his own divorce, and I guess in the movie
He also
the Adam
wrote
Driver
Fantastic
character.
Mr. Fox with Wes Anderson.
Yes, so in that movie, the Adam Driver character is like writing. They don't say what movie
Oh,
it is, but they say he like
Marriage Story.
yeah.
I've
They say
I've
heard
heard of that
he's like
film. I've
writing.
heard of that film. I've
He's like
I've heard
writing.
the memes.
Yeah, but he's like writing a kids movie that he doesn't really want to do, but he has to do it to pay for his divorce. And so it's implied that it's Madagascar 3 because Noah Baumbach had to write that to pay for his divorce.
Okay. My next question was going to be how the hell did a guy with the credits that he's had and working with Wes Anderson, how did he get to write Madagascar 3?
Tough times. All
I
right, what's
guess
next? What
so.
else did they do in 2012?
I gotta go back. Let's see. Okay, Rise of the Guardians. This is a weird
Never
one.
heard of it. Um,
I remember
uh,
seeing
hmm.
trailers. It didn't really pique my interest all that much. It's all these childhood guardians. Like you've got Jack
Oh,
Frost
they
and
know
the
what it's about. They know what it's about. Don't
yeah,
you worry. If they've ever been on the internet, they know what it's about. Um,
the Easter
I was
Bunny's
on the
hot.
I was on the Jelsa train for a hot second when I was like 16, but only because I kind of felt like I had to be. Um, yeah, not so much anymore. It's pretty good. Not one of my favorites. I'd
B
put it
tier?
in A or B tier.
I say let's
Yeah,
put
I'd say
it in
B
B
tier.
tier.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit better than B tier, but it's not like as good as the rest of the stuff that we have in A tier.
So B plus.
Yeah, it's like B plus.
All right. Well, Rise of the Guardians. The Easter Bunny's hot, and that's pretty much all I know about it.
Everyone was obsessed with Jack Frost for a long time. I finally watched the movie. I heard Chris Pine's voice coming out of him. It did not fit.
Okay, next film. Our first one in 2003, and this must have been
2013.
that one that you were referring to earlier when we were talking about How to Train Your Dragon. Chris Sanders co-directed this. The Croods.
The Croods. I haven't seen that in a while.
I haven't seen it, period.
I remember liking it fine. I would put it in B tier.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a mid film.
Yeah,
One
there's
that
some
you
episodes of the
take your
Netflix
kids
series
to
that
just to distract them.
there were some episodes in of the Netflix series that I thought were pretty funny, but it's not great. It's not like a huge tentpole franchise,
Yeah,
but it's all right.
I'm sure Nicolas Cage got a good check for his Nicolas Caging in this film.
Yeah. Very pretty score. I think Alan Silvestri did the score, and I think no, he didn't do How to Train Your Dragon. But he did a very good
Uh,
score for this.
let me see.
John
Who?
Powell did How to Train Your Dragon. Alan
Oh yeah.
Silvestri did Lilo and Stitch and the Croods.
Alrighty. All right. Our next film. This one's another weird attempt to start a new franchise. I maybe. Turbo. Where do you put
I have
Turbo?
already put, I have already put it in D tier. It's very bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna concede that. This didn't interest me at all. I haven't seen it. It's fascinatingly weird. It's snails being race car drivers. It's it's just
I like
weird. Why would you make a film
there's
like
one
this?
there's one joke from the trailer that I think is okay. It's like the Ryan Reynolds snail asking Samuel L. Jackson snail if he's crazy, and he says, "Yeah, I'm crazy. What made you think I was sane?" But he's not saying it as like a quip. He's just like, "Yes, of course I am." I think that's a good spin on that. Other than that, I don't. There's just nothing really very good about this movie aside from the animation. This was summer of 2013 was the summer of animated movies about like a character who wanted to do something that like you're not supposed to do. So it's like a snail who wants to be fast, and it's a plane who's afraid of heights, and it's a former villain who has to be a hero, and all of that.
Yeah. And we all know
And
which one was the best one of that trope.
it was planes.
Yeah, it was
It was
planes.
Disney's Planes, starring Dane Cook as a plane. All right, what's next?
By the way, I want to point out David Soren directed Turbo, and we will see his name come up in a little bit as well. Next up,
I can't wait.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
This one I acknowledge is not the greatest movie, but I really like it. I have a soft spot for it. I would put it in A tier.
Again, this another one I haven't seen, so I will also concede and put it in A tier. Directed by Rob Minkoff, who co-directed The Lion King and also directed both of the Stuart Little movies.
Also directed The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy.
So take that how you will. I will say though,
This
Stuart
one,
Little 2, great movie. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid.
I still have it on VHS because we rented it from Blockbuster when I was little and never returned it.
Oh, nice. Take
Yeah,
that,
it's we still have the
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster case too. So yeah, this movie it's very cute. It's very stylized because it's based on the Rocky and Bullwinkle shorts.
Yeah,
Um, but it's in CG. Like visually, it's kind of similar to Meet the Robinsons. A lot of people were making that comparison. They're also both scored by Danny Elfman.
I can
Um,
definitely see that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a very cute movie. There's a very nice parent-child relationship in it that's not totally in the source material. They're more like Sherman's more of a sidekick in the original shorts. But I can see how like if you're gonna make those a feature-length movie, you might want to focus on like the father-son angle.
Oh yeah,
Um,
totally.
they kind of made it an allegory for like gay adoption. This is in 2014, so it's like kind of a hot button issue. I guess still is, but they like kind of made it an allegory. I guess it could also be an allegory for like mixed race families or like single parents. I don't know,
Yeah.
but Ty Burrell I think does a really great voice as Mr. Peabody. The kid who played Sherman is very cute. Of course, he's like 19 now, but he was very cute at the time.
Yeah. Cute. I guess the general consensus is this is a very cute movie.
Yeah, there's some nice historical humor. I watched it with my friend who was a classics major, and she sometimes she can tolerate like anachronism and historical inaccuracy, but she was getting very mad at when they did it in this movie. She was like yelling at the screen. One of my one of my friends I met when I was 16 because of this movie. We met on Tumblr because of this movie. We are still
Nice.
mutuals.
That's great. All right. Uh Next up we've got How to Train Your Dragon 2. Chris Sanders did not return to direct this film.
But Dean DeBlois did.
Yeah.
His co-director from the first one and from Lilo and Stitch. Ooh, I think it's only slightly worse than the first one,
Now
so I would still
they're
put it in.
all every single film in the trilogy I think is really good.
I think they're all really good. I would put this in S tier.
Yeah, I
I've
think
got
this
like
is
one
where
or
it
two
goes
notes, but
to.
I'd put it in
Just
S tier.
the time passing made a difference on the characters. Yeah.
Really like the new designs.
Oh
I
yeah.
like
They made them all so badass.
I like all the landscapes in all these movies.
Yeah, that's the huge thing with all three of these movies. They're just so beautiful to look at.
Oh, I had Stoic's death spoiled for me like 2 days before I saw it because
Ouch.
I was using Tumblr mobile, and at the time you couldn't filter out tags on mobile. So I just saw a whole lot of posts about how Stoic dies, and I'm like, all right, guess I got that to look forward to.
Yeah. That was rough.
They had one
Ooh.
more in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon 2. Just as good as the first, if not maybe a little bit worse, but on the same level, on the same caliber. I have
Yeah.
no problem with it being an S tier.
All right, we got to move it along. It's almost midnight where I am.
It's almost 11 o'clock where I am. Penguins of Madagascar. I know John Green, author of The Fault in Our Stars, really likes this movie.
Oh, I know it was a big meme that Benedict Cumberbatch couldn't say penguins quite right. He was saying like penguins.
Penguins. I think I know that meme.
I thought this was cute, but not that great.
I feel like it should
would
be in C tier. Like compared to the
yeah,
rest of the Madagascar franchise,
I would put it in C tier. Like they were side characters for a reason, I think.
yeah. I mean, I really like them as side characters. Their whole dynamic is really cute, cool.
That's like Kronk's new groove. Like once the movie is about him, it's not that entertaining.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, did they really have to make that one about daddy issues?
Yeah, and did they really have to make this one like that? They're a found family. I mean, the baby penguin designs are cute, but I don't know. I think they can just be like, yeah, we know each other and we just kind of decided to team up. I don't think they have to have been like orphans who just like started protecting each other because no one else would. I don't think that's
Yeah.
something we need with these characters.
All right. Penguins of Madagascar. It's exactly mid. All right,
Yeah.
next up, uh oh gosh, his name's escaping me. Jim Parsons and Rihanna in Home.
It's the full title. Um,
Yes, exactly.
I
I
I
feel
don't
like
hate
this
this
is
movie.
hmm?
I don't hate this movie. I think it's a better. I think if it's between this and like Pocahontas, if you're trying to like explain colonialism to kids, this might be a better way to do it. But that doesn't mean it's a
But this
great
film
movie.
doesn't have Colors of the Wind though.
That's true. It does have Rihanna though. She's got a couple of pretty good songs on the soundtrack. The soundtrack is good. I listen to it a lot. This isn't really one that I go back to. I thought it was all right. O is kind of annoying.
Yeah, this just feels like a
It,
definitely kid targeted film to me.
it's there's a lot of like LOL X random humor that was already dated when this came out.
Yeah. I'm fine with putting it in
So
C tier.
yeah, I'd put it in C tier.
Sorry, Jim Parsons, alien person.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. All right. Kung Fu Panda 3. And I don't know. This is another film that deals with daddy issues and stuff, but
Double daddy issues.
it's S tier for me.
Put it in A tier. I think it's better than the first one, but it's not quite as good as the second one. I think there's a couple of pacing issues,
I think
but
I
still
think
very
this
good.
one really did it for me. Just the whole sort of squabbles with Mr. Ping, and then Poe's actual dad, and then I mean the pandas were so cute.
The pandas were adorable. I love the one panda cub who like can only she must be autistic because she can only say stripy baby or some variation on that. But I like that she kind of grows on Tigress and they end up fighting together. I think it's very cute. I think
Yeah.
it's really cute when like they're fighting and Tigress just says, "Do it," and she says, "You're mean," and she like hits the guy with the doll.
Yeah. I suppose maybe this villain is like
The villain's not as interesting.
not as interesting.
He's
Like,
like maybe a little better than the villain in the first one, but he's a downgrade from the second one. The animation is absolutely beautiful.
oh yeah, the
You do that.
locales are fantastic, and I mean that whole final sequence though
Oh, it's
in
that's
the sh-
great. In the
in the
spirit
in
realm
the
thing.
spirit realm. I almost said the
Yeah.
shadow realm. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That
It's a great it looks amazing.
the
This movie actually came out on my 18th birthday, January 29th, 2016. So
nice.
we had the day off of school for a snow day, but the roads were okay. So my friends and I went to see this. I was wearing when I was 17, my mom had a friend from college who worked at DreamWorks at the time, so we got to go tour the studio, and I got a Kung Fu Panda tank top that I still have. So I wore that on my birthday. Then I think we just like went shopping or something. Then we went to dinner. Then I came back and had a letter from, excuse me, from where I ended up going to college, and it was my acceptance letter,
Oh wow,
which
so
I
this
didn't
was a huge
expect
day
because it was
for
in a
you.
yeah, and it was in a regular envelope, but I opened it up and confetti came out that said congrats, and the first line was like congratulations on your acceptance to Hollins University, and then it went on to detail like how much money they were giving me in this grant, which is it's just like a big chunk of my tuition was just like already covered for some reason, and I like but like I wasn't focused on that. I was focused on the fact that I got in because that was my first choice. And so I just went like bounding up the stairs, like holding. I'm like, "Mom, Mom, I got in!" And then I read it to my parents, and my dad heard the part about the grant, and he's like, "Read that again." I'm like, "Yeah, they're giving me like X amount of money." He's like, "Okay." You should go there.
Yeah. So I feel like because of that significance, this movie belongs in S tier.
Still, as a movie itself, I would say A tier, but that is a nice. I do have some nice memories associated with it, so I'll allow S tier. I'm not
Woo!
mad about S
Kung
tier.
Fu Panda 3, the best one, in my humble opinion.
You know what? This is a good time to make some predictions for Kung Fu Panda 4, which has already been announced is coming out next March.
I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Neither do I, because I feel like this tied it up pretty nicely. I know
Oh,
initially
yeah.
Jeffrey Katzenberg was saying there were going to be like six of them. I think three is a good number, but if they're going to make a
Oh,
fourth
yeah.
one,
3 is the
I think,
perfect number.
you know what? I think I don't want to spoil it for you, but the backstory I told you about that they go into with Tigress in the shorts, I think they might expand on it a little bit more in this one. Because it seems like they go a tiny, tiny bit, like they hint at it a little bit more in two and three. Um,
I mean, that
but
would make the
they
most
don't like
sense.
delve into it. I think if they do, it still has to be in a way that like heavily involves Poe and like
Yeah.
he has to progress through it somehow because it's still his movie.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Can you stop the feeling?
Yeah, I can.
Dang.
You need me to?
Well, because I can't stop it. Our next film is Trolls.
Next film was Trolls, which I would put in B tier. I think it's a cute movie. I think it's
Uh
a fun time.
I think this is a little too cute and colorful and kitty for my taste. And I mean,
Have you seen it?
I haven't.
I think you would find that's a slightly less of that than you would expect, because that's kind of the joke of the movie, is that this is so cutesy and like some people aren't gonna jive with that. That's kind of the entire purpose of the Justin Timberlake character. So, okay, the first time I saw this movie was with two kids I was babysitting, and they had already seen it a million times, so they
Of
knew
course they
everything
had.
that was happening. And when you get to the scene where you find out why Justin Timberlake's character doesn't like singing.
Because music killed his grandma, right?
I thought that was a joke, and I laughed out loud. I don't think it registered with the kids that I had laughed, but I thought it was a joke, and it was because she's saying like, "Why won't you sing?" And he says, "Because singing killed my grandma." And I laughed because I thought the next line was going to be like, "Whoa, really?" And he was going to be like, "No, I'm not telling you why." I thought that's where that was going, but no, it legit killed his grandma, which isn't like they're not playing it totally in earnest. You're still kind of supposed to find it funny or at least absurd, but like in a way that still makes sense in the world of this movie.
Yeah. I'm I don't know, I'm probably just never going to see this movie.
I don't have to, but it's not it's it was marketed very poorly, I think.
I guess
Or
you
maybe
could
it wasn't
say
because
that.
it was a big hit,
It
but
was a
I think the
huge
marketing.
hit.
Oh yeah. But the marketing I
I
don't
think I
think.
remember working concessions for this movie, and oh boy. Oh yeah, I've got a funny. I'm gonna have a funny story. Actually, never mind. I had a funny theater story, but it's not with any of these DreamWorks films, so never mind.
Mm,
It was for a Smurfs film, so
oh,
total different studio, totally off
slightly
topic.
different.
We might as well just move on to the Boss Baby.
Boss Baby. I haven't seen this properly. I've seen it with like a comedian's commentary track over it. Uh
I feel like if I was
seems
ever gonna see this film, it would be that way, or just like I'm not paying attention to it. But
yeah,
this
like you're
feels like the
babysitting and
perfect, like, when people like to make fun of DreamWorks films for not being as good as some other studios, I feel like they always point to the Boss Baby.
that is exactly what I was going to say. Like this is the movie that everyone like DreamWorks at their worst. This is what everyone thinks they are. From what I've seen of it, it's inoffensive enough that it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but like Alec Baldwin is a little businessman baby. Like that sounds like a fake movie that
So
exists inside another
disconcerting as
movie.
well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'd
I
say
was gonna
C
say
tier.
D or shite, but
I'd say C. I don't think there's anything like that bad about it. I think it's just not great.
I'll we'll do that. Yeah, this is the epitome of DreamWorks face.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, this next movie, I do remember working through at the theater. I was an usher at the time, so I had to clean up theaters after Captain Underpants, the first epic movie.
I would tier.
I'm sorry that cut out. What tier?
A tier.
I'll concede that. Like, I haven't seen it. I think this was also another one where it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna like this one, but I did really, really love the Captain Underpants books as a kid. Dave Pilkey is
I,
just a legend.
it's Dove.
I'm sorry, Dov Pilkey is just a legend.
I think if you like the
He
books,
wrote
you'll
a
like the
great
movie.
children's book about the nuclear arms race. It's just a classic,
Oh,
and I would love to read it again.
for him. Yeah, my little sister loved these books, so I ended up reading them too. I liked them okay. I think this movie was very funny. It's a very good adaptation of them. I like the animation style. I like that they kind of blend the books with CG. The only real problem I have is the casting of the two kids because it's Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch just doing their regular voices.
Yeah, and
It's
these
very
kids are supposed to
distracting.
be like 8 years old or something.
They're like maybe 10. But it's very funny. It's a very good adaptation of the books. So I'd say A tier. I don't have any like big problems with it, but I don't think it's a perfect movie either.
Yeah, I suppose maybe I should see it. Tra la la and all
If
that stuff.
yeah, if you are a fan of the books, I think you'll like it.
All right. Are we going to have a straight S tier with this franchise now? Our next film is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
I would put that in A tier. I would put that just slightly below the other two.
I'll admit I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this one, but I've heard fantastic things about it.
So
It looks
I think
just
it's
as good, if not better, than the other two.
I think it's really good, but it has some problems that the other two don't. I think the villain's boring in comparison. I think the pacing is a little off. The dialogue is a bit stilted at times. There are these weird subplots that don't really pay off very well, or they're not developed as much as they could have been. The ending, though, it's gonna make everybody cry.
Yeah,
I
that.
think it's the perfect, and I think it's the perfect ending to this franchise. So I wouldn't. So I'm not gonna say that I wasn't really disappointed. But it's not quite as good as the first two. So I'd put it in A tier.
Oh, yeah. We'll go ahead and do that. Hiccup grows a beard.
That's in the epilogue. He
Yeah.
doesn't have it for most of the movie.
All right. Uh, Zendaya is not Michi in this one. Abominable.
Never seen it. Never heard anything about it. So I really can't. Like I can't. I
Yeah,
don't think I
I
can even rank
don't know
this.
what the heck happened with this one. Like, I heard
I
about
saw it.
it.
I know it was. I know it was a co-production with another studio. I want to say. So it was just DreamWorks was like helping it get distributed. Maybe I don't know. I don't know exactly how that works, but I don't know anyone who's seen it. I didn't see it. I don't really have interest in seeing it. I'm sure it's fine. Um,
So
you know, it just
let's leave it off the list for now.
yeah.
Let's
Let's skip it.
Now for this one, I'm gonna say that the hit song derived from this film was is better than the hit song derived from its previous one.
I agree.
Which is to say, I like the other side better than Can't Stop the Feeling. Trolls World
I
Tour. Where are
was
you gonna put this one?
I think it's a little bit better than Trolls, but not quite A tier. So I'm also gonna put it in B tier.
I will concede
Love the
that.
soundtrack. I think it's I think it's a little bit of a stronger narrative than the first one.
Ozzy Osbourne is in this one, which I cannot
Yeah,
even fathom.
I like the soundtrack better. I like that they're going to I think the conflict is more interesting than just like, oh, they're big like goblin things that are like eating us, I guess. And I think it's a very good message, especially for kids. It's something you don't see in a ton of movies. Because basically the message is that everyone is not the same, everyone is different, and that's actually a good thing, and we need to acknowledge that and not like pretend that that's not true.
And it came out during COVID.
Yeah, we are in the pandemic now. I did rent this at home. I did rent this for $20 at home when it came out.
Man alive. That's, well, it's still that expensive exactly.
It's a good deal for the time for like as an alternative to theaters because if you have let's say you have like a group of 5 people watching one of these movies in their house for $20, like that's still cheaper than paying for a ticket for all of them at a
I
theater.
suppose. Oh yeah, I wanted to go back and see because I mentioned DreamWorks' deal with Paramount to distribute their films. So I wanted to see which one was the first one released by 20th Century Fox. It
I
looks
think it
like
was Trolls.
it was the Croods, actually.
Oh. Oh yeah, because there was the logo in front of Mr. Peabody and Sherman. All right.
And then,
Lightning round. Lightning round, let's go.
frick, I
What's
lost my
next?
place.
Crudes 2, more crudes.
Too many Croods. I
Crudes 2, too many crudes. Crudes, too many crudes.
The
I
Croods
did
a
not see
New
this one. I,
Age. Uh,
I I meant to see this one. I never did. Um, it's the same director as a later movie that was very good, so I have a little more interest in seeing it now. I know it got decent reviews. Just out of courtesy, I'm gonna put it in B tier.
I don't know. This one I feel like the vibe is worse than the other one. I feel like putting it in C tier.
I mean, you can, but I don't think either of us have seen it, so can we really
Yeah,
say?
I'm putting it in C tier. Spirit Untamed.
I think we can skip this one. I think it's a co-production. It's basically just a spin-off of the Netflix series. It's really for little kids. We can't really
Okay,
judge it, but I didn't hear great things about it.
I'm fine with that. Okay, The Boss Baby Family Business.
Did not see this one in any capacity.
I want to put this in shite tier.
I put it in D tier. It feels a little mean to put it in shite tier. I don't think it doesn't look that bad.
It looks bad.
It doesn't look that bad. It can't be as bad as Sinbad. None of these can be as bad as Sinbad.
I'm I'm looking at this poster and it's just Alec Baldwin baby in a diaper and then his business shoes and like those things that clip on to your like
Garter?
I
You're
think
looking at a different poster than me. I'm just seeing Alec Baldwin baby and Amy Sedaris baby standing next to each other in little suits and
I'm
making the
looking at
DreamWorks
I'm
face.
looking at this. This is on the Wikipedia and I'm
Wikipedia. Okay.
baffled. Like what is
Well,
this?
I just put it in D tier. I don't think it can possibly be as bad as we're thinking.
All right. And now to finish this off, we enter what could possibly be called sort of a DreamWorks renaissance?
I
The
don't
bad
know about
guys.
Renaissance. Bad Guys, I would put in A tier. I think it's very good. I don't think it's amazing. I really like the animation style. I like the soundtrack. I think it's pretty funny. There were some plot points that I kind of bumped on that I didn't totally understand, but that could be on me. It could be
I
that I
want
missed
to see
something.
this film. I wanted to see this when I heard about it at first and then I just never managed it, but yeah, the
It's on
animation style
Netflix.
is great. All these characters look like they've got a great dynamic. I've seen a lot of ship art with the wolf and the snake, so
Yeah, I don't really get that. I didn't really get I just didn't really feel that kind of friendship in the movie. I didn't really get why they were best friends. They just kind of said they were. So that's what's keeping it from S tier is like They didn't quite get what I think they were setting out to do, but I still think it's very good. It's on Netflix, so very easy to watch.
Yeah, I'll definitely be sure to check it out. But not before I check out our final film, Puss in Boots:
Yeah,
The Last Wish.
I was so disappointed that you didn't see this in time, but I would put it in S tier.
Yeah, I'm going to preemptively put it in S tier before I've even seen it because I've heard great things. It looks fantastic. Uh this just looks like a movie that I will love a whole bunch.
Yeah, I mean it's the best DreamWorks movie I've seen in a while. I think it might be the best one since like How to Train Your Dragon 2, maybe?
Which is
Like in a
very high
long
marks.
time. Yeah, and that's like it's just really, really good. Like I can't fathom how they went from the first one, which I thought was fine, to this one, which is like one of the best animated movies I've seen in a couple of years.
Yeah, it
It's so
sometimes it
good.
takes a decade, but once it's out
Yeah,
there,
definitely. Time well spent. Time very
very
well spent.
time
This
well
is a great
spent.
movie. My mom and I walked out of it, and in my head, I'm like, oh, Shrek 5 might be good based on this. And my mom's takeaway was, that was cute, but I was disappointed we didn't get to see them get married. She's got chronic wedding fever. If a movie references a wedding of any kind, she wants to see it. If there is
Yeah.
an episode of a TV show with a wedding, she wants to skip to that. She does not want to watch it in order. She loves weddings.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely make sure to check it out if I can possibly make myself. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Very great note to end on.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
uh,
I just want to talk a little bit more about this movie because I feel like everything that I feel, you know what? Oddly enough, I feel like this is everything that Sinbad was trying to be. And if you saw both these movies, it would make sense. But also, there's no reason for anyone to watch Sinbad. Please don't. Um, I feel like the character dynamics are much better. Well, they're like the same kind of character dynamics that Sinbad was kind of trying to hit and didn't quite get. Um, Villain is much more entertaining.
oh yeah,
Uh,
Death. From what I've seen of Death, he's like a
oh,
amazing villain.
I wouldn't say Death is a villain. I'd say he's an antagonist. I'd say the villain is Jack Horner, played by John Mulaney.
Okay.
It's very, very funny. Um, I love the Jiminy Cricket character. That's just a Jimmy Stewart impression. I love the animation style. I feel like Spider-Verse wasn't the first to do this sort of thing, but I don't feel like this movie could exist in its current state if not for Spider-Verse. So I really like this direction they're going in with their visual style.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it does what I think no one was really expecting when Shrek 2 came out, which is it makes Puss in Boots a pretty interesting character in his own right, like as a lead protagonist. Um, I like I like the tweet where someone like responded to the tweet where it's like, well, if you want to see a panic attack handled well and done with
I've
sincerity, then
seen
watch
that
Puss in Boots: The
too.
Last Wish.
I've seen that
Someone
clip on
responded.
Tumblr, and it's like,
Oh, the clip is everywhere, but someone responded to that saying, like, I'm sitting in the audience, like, talking to an 11-year-old sitting next to me saying, I'm here to see a panic attack done well and with sincerity. Because, like, that is true. That's a true statement about the movie, but it's like, the way the tweet is phrased, it kind of
it's
sounds
like you
like,
only went to see the film for that,
it's like,
and not
that's why you're
just
coming
to
to see
see
this
a
movie, is
great
just for that
film.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Like
it
once
does
you
that
see it, it's
without.
like, okay, I got my money's worth, and you just leave.
You just leave after that scene. You don't care how it ends.
Just dump your
Um,
popcorn on that 11-year-old.
And like, if you had told me before I saw this movie that like, oh yeah, Puss in Boots has a panic attack and it's like of an actually like serious scene, I'd be like, oh, this doesn't seem like the franchise to do that in, but like it works somehow. And just all that
And
I
I mean,
thought
with a
at
great
first,
antagonist like Death itself, like,
yeah, I okay. Everyone is saying that that reveal was super obvious. I must be the only person on the planet above the age of 9 who didn't see it coming. I just took it completely at face value. Like whatever the movie was telling me in that moment, I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And
Like I
poor
didn't
me, I'm
realize it
never
was death.
really gonna get to know how it feels to possibly be blindsided by that twist because
You probably wouldn't have
me
been
chronically
blindsided because
online, I knew from the beginning.
you probably wouldn't have been blindsided because I seem to be the only person who was. Um,
I
but
don't
yeah,
know. It's pretty easy to blindside me.
I didn't realize it until Puss in Boots realized it in the movie. Like the exact second. But yeah, it's really funny. The when it wants to be serious, it handles that very well. At first, I came away thinking there might have been too many characters to keep track of, but ultimately, I think we don't lose anything uh, with the number of characters that they have. I think they're all funny or interesting in their own right. And yeah, just looks really good, sounds really good.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out. So, I think that's a good note to end on. We went from D tier all the way to S tier with a big old roller coaster in between.
Yeah, and there's oh, I was gonna say like there might be a franchise that has a movie in each tier, but that's not true because there are no Shrek movies in C tier.
And I mean, How to Train Your Dragon, 2 S tier and 1 A tier. That's a pretty good record.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
No, not at all.
Do not sneeze at it. I swear to God, if you do.
And really
I swear to
only
God.
one movie in shite tier. So I
Yeah,
suppose that's a big accomplishment as well.
that's that's a good track record. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Just everyone.
Absolutely.
Everyone at DreamWorks, everyone in the animation industry, just everyone who exists.
Do your best and we'll be there for the ride. All right. Well, Flushed Away Rat has been staring at me for way too long, and it's probably past both of our bedtimes, so it's time to sign off for now.
Yeah, friends never say goodbye except for right now when we leave this stream.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
Eventually edit this into maybe something else to release at a later date.
Yeah, for anybody that joined us, we are certainly glad that you did, and for anybody who's joining us after, we are also glad you're here. Hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, if you're watching or listening to this in the future, hello from the past.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Into the Falls coming in the next 2 months.
Coming in the next 5 years, probably.
Yeah, maybe. All right.
Eventually.
Bye bye, everybody.
Goodbye.